You are watching the 3-round mock draft spectacular, the first annual here at Chat Sports. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. You are currently watching on Steelers Talk by Chat Sports or the Commanders Report by Chat Sports. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you guys weren't already aware, I am actually the host of both our Steelers and Commanders channels here at Chat Sports. And today, I'm going to be making our picks today for these two football teams. All right, so we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to, it's going to be 3 rounds. A minute is going to be on the clock for each pick. And it's just going to be a lot of fun here. We're going to see how things go today. It's the first time we've ever done this here at Chat Sports, but every single big channel that we have here at Chat Sports for an NFL team is going live right now. And Raiders, Cowboys, 49ers, Eagles, Bears, all these big channels. Every single channel that we have, we currently are maxed out on studios here at Chat Sports, and we're going to have our hosts pick for their respective teams in a 3-round mock draft that's going to be taking place over the next 2 hours or so. So thank you guys so much, Steelers fans, Commanders fans, joining me here this afternoon. We're going to have a lot of fun on today's program. So I'm going to bring in our producer here, Mr. Jeffrey Cooperstein.
Woo!
Coop, I am excited for this. We were with our Steelers audience here for a full hour before we brought on our Commanders audience here because Aaron Rodgers gave us a little insight, cleared a couple things up, but gave us no clear answers as to whether or not he's going to be the Steelers' starting quarterback, at least not yet. Apparently, he's going through some personal issues right now in his personal life that he needs to clear up, but it certainly sounds like he's eventually going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler eventually this offseason with the way he talked about the team, the teammates, all that different stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how that entire situation plays out. So shout out your city down there in the comments section. Let us know where you're watching the show from. Obviously, Chat Sports Studios is here in Dallas, Texas. So let us know whether you're a Steelers fan or a Commanders fan, where you are watching the mock draft spectacular from today. We got Joe L. We got Kevin Reed, who's coming to us from Virginia. Gary Frank is from Canton, Ohio. Brock Walker's from Shelby, North Carolina. Cassie, my girlfriend, is here right now. Can everyone say hi to Cassie from Dallas? Damian Roy is from Maryland. Kenneth is from Martha's Ferry, Ohio. Nicholas is asking, any trades today? No, we will not.
Trades.
No trades are permitted because there's only 1 minute on the clock. So our bosses didn't want us to convolute it with trades. I did push for it a little bit, Coop. I said, what if we did just 1-round mock draft with 3 minute on the clock?
You did try.
I did try because of course, you guys know me. I would love to make some moves here, but it's just going to be straight chalk. So today's picks, obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers have the number 21 overall pick in the first round. Do not have a selection in round 2, and then they select number 83 overall.
We'll show you all the picks here in just a second.
We will show all the picks that we'll be making on this mock draft here in just a second. But go ahead and shout out your city. Do you have the Commanders stream pulled up?
I do. I'm getting the super chat set up for Commanders right now.
Sounds good. So make sure you shout out your city down there in the comment section. Appreciate everybody joining us today. We got Mike G, Harry, Paranormal in the Funhouse, Justin Gordon, Jonas, Joe L is here, Larry L is here, Dylan is from New Jersey. We got Shaq from Albany, New York. What I love about these two fan bases, guys, is that Commanders fans and Steelers fans, super passionate fan bases.
Absolutely.
Man. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. We'll be talking about a bunch of different draft rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Washington Commanders today. And, of course, I'll be making our selections in all 3 rounds of this mock draft throughout today's show. So thank you to everybody that is tuning in. In about 10 minutes, we will be starting things off with the Tennessee Titans on the clock at number 1 overall. And I am excited to see where this thing all shakes out. I have a pretty good idea of all of our other hosts here. Harry, Chase Sr., Mitchell Renz. I feel like I have a pretty good feel with where they kind of sit on all these draft prospects, Coop. So hopefully we can get a couple of good draft hauls for these two
I got to
teams.
be honest, as I get all our stuff in order here, I'm very curious to see where you go with your picks because you've kind of leaned certain ways, but other times I think you may zag. So I don't know where you're going to go here.
Yeah, I mean, I've got an idea of what I want to do for each team in all 3 rounds today. Obviously, both these teams don't have a pick in one of these rounds. The Steelers don't have a second-round pick, and the Commanders don't have a third-round pick. So we're only going to be making 4 picks total on today's show.
We will get to your Super Chats here, but we do need to get to this Game Time.
And we will get to the Super Chats here in just one moment. But first, let's have a word from our live sponsor on today's program, which is Game Time. The NBA playoffs are getting started. And if you want to experience the energy and stakes of playoff basketball, you guys can get great seats at guaranteed low prices with our friends at Game Time. Today, you guys can get 60% off tickets for all different types of events, sporting events, theater events, comedy shows, concerts, all this different stuff. And Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier to whatever event you want to go see, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. The Cleveland Cavaliers have locked up the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this season. Heading into the postseason, you can experience their playoff run in the weeks to come with our friends at Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. You can create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Our guy, John.
My man, John Masood. He says, Jack, Cassie Vote, Coop, how do you say this? Shenandoah Valley here?
Have you not heard the song Country Roads? Shenandoah.
Oh, Shenandoah. Oh, okay. I got you. Shenandoah.
John Masood sent this on our Commanders Report channel. So shout out to John Masood.
Shout out to John. He's a real one. He actually watches both of our channels.
Yes, he does.
Here, so he's just a fan.
And then,
he's just a good guy.
Gary Frank is not happy about Mr. Aaron Rodgers.
No, he's not. He's a typical millennial. I don't even think – is he even a millennial?
No way, right?
I don't think he's a millennial.
No, he's not.
So he says – I think he might be talking about me. He might be
he's not talking about you.
He's saying
make an announcement.
Oh, man, yeah. Pull up your granny undies and let's play. Listen, Gary, you don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going through in his personal life right now, man. Like, for all you know, man, there's like a family crisis going on that he's working through right now. Like, I don't know. That's just, all right, is it possible maybe that he's actually going through nothing? It doesn't sound to me like it's nothing, all right? It definitely sounds like McAfee knows what it is, and, like, he thinks it's legit, all right? Same thing with A.J. Hawk. So, I think that there legitimately is something going on with Aaron Rodgers, and it sounds like Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan are aware of the situation, which is probably why the Steelers still feel so confident that they're going to eventually land Aaron Rodgers. Like, at the owners' meetings in Palm Beach last week, guys, or a couple weeks ago at this point, Tomlin and Khan and Art Rooney, like, all of them sounded super confident that he was going to sign with them. So it sounds like they are aware of what Aaron is kind of having to figure out right now. But I mean, he said that Mike Tomlin exceeded his expectations. Arthur Smith is a great guy. He knows Tom Arth, the Steelers quarterbacks coach, from his time in Green Bay, and he said that he loved his time throwing with DK Metcalf. So I think it's just a matter of time. Gary, unfortunately for you, I do think Aaron Rodgers will be this team's will be the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback next year.
All right, so let's take a look at the picks that we are going to be making, and then we'll take a look at some of the best players available on the draft board. First pick, by the way, is going to be made at 1:15, so in about 6 minutes.
Yeah, okay, so we got round one. We got both picks here. Steelers will be picking at number 21. Then we'll also be selecting for the Washington Commanders at number 29 overall. Then the Commanders will be on the board again next at number 61 in round 2. They do not have a round 3 pick. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers will be our final pick today at number 83 overall. So the ESPN's best available here, big board. You got Travis Hunter as the number 1 overall prospect.
Would you agree with that?
I do. I think that he is a really special player, both as a corner and as a wide receiver. Just special athlete. Great ball skills. Like, if he plays corner, if you throw the ball in his general vicinity of the receiver he's covering, his ball skills are generational for a corner. All right, they are high end. I would give it an A or maybe even an A+. Ball skills for a wide receiver, let alone a corner. All right, so if you throw the ball in the general vicinity of the player that he's covering, there's a chance it's going to get intercepted. So he's got a chance to be a generational type of corner, but he's also a really good wide receiver as well. He's great in space. He's a good route runner. He's got phenomenal ball skills, of course, despite not being the biggest guy in the world. I do think he is the best player in this draft. A little bit of speculation here. I don't think Petey, our Browns host, is going to take him, though. He's a little bit lower on
My
him.
sources are telling me that Cleveland Browns are heavily leaning towards Abdul Carter.
Yes, and in real life, I think they're going to be taking Travis. But Petey is more in the Abdul Carter camp, pairing him up with Myles Garrett. But I'm sure Marshall Green, our Giants host, will be happy to take Travis at number 3. Also, Armin Membu, Jalen Walker, Will Campbell, Cam Ward.
You think Membu's the first offensive lineman off the board?
I don't. I think Will Campbell will be. I think that Allie Barefoot, our Patriots host, will probably take Campbell. And Jalen Walker's a bit too high in this ESPN rankings, in my opinion. But then you got the 9 through 12 here. You got Will Johnson, who I think is a phenomenal player. Tyler Warren. I'm excited to see where Tyler Warren goes because I think he could go anywhere between the Jets pick at 7 to, I could see Trizzy Trace, our Saints host, take him at 9. I think that he could go a bunch of different places here. Tedorora McMillan ranks number 14 on the ESPN big board. I think Tedorora McMillan's an awesome player, man. So smooth for his size, great ball skills. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes because I think on the actual draft day next week, I think that Seattle is a team that could really, really want to get Tedorora McMillan if he ends up falling to him. Lots of good players in this class here. I do have a plan for both teams in the first round here. Hopefully that plan comes to fruition, and we'll see how everything plays out here. 3 minutes until we're on the clock here with Tennessee. But JTC 208 with a $20 super chat. So a question, Jack. Why is it no one thinks that Will Howard and Quinn Ewers are not on the elite picks?
That's a good question, JTC.
First of all, they have a tougher schedule and got both teams in the playoffs and won a national championship. So obviously, those two rosters are stacked, all right? And I would say Will Howard has some pro kind of starter type of tools. He's got a decent arm. He's got a good deep ball. But I think Howard is just too inconsistent with his accuracy in the short to intermediate levels of the field. He tends to spray throws, all right? And he tends to not have the most consistent stroke and the most consistent accuracy. Also, he doesn't have very good pocket presence, and he doesn't really provide much as a playmaker out of structure. So those are the reasons why Howard is not considered an elite prospect. And then when it comes to Quinn Ewers, he's got a great throwing motion, and when he's healthy, he can spin it. But his tape is super inconsistent, even though he had one of the best offensive play callers in college football calling his plays, and he had at least two really high-end weapons, at least this past year.
I will say this. Quinn, as a Texas fan, the Quinn Ewers good tape is really good.
Yes, it is.
The bad tape is really bad.
And by the way, there's a lot more bad tape than there is good tape. He throws a lot of interceptions or throws the ball in the harm's way quite a bit.
A lot of turnover-worthy plays.
A lot of turnover-worthy plays from Quinn Ewers. And there's also a lot of soft tissue injury concerns with Ewers. Tyler
AC joint,
Shuck out of Louisville is somebody that gets brought up with the injury stuff a lot, but he had broken bones. Those fully recover. With Quinn Ewers, he has not finished a college season fully healthy in his entire college career.
He tore his oblique last year in week 2, and he played through it.
And toughness is not an issue with Quinn, but it's the soft tissue kind of issues where it's every 100%. Single year it's a soft tissue issue with Quinn Ewers, and then the film is just not super consistent. So even though they played for great programs, played in big games, Ewers had some great moments last year, especially towards the end of the year. Same thing with Howard, who played his best ball in the college football playoff. There's a reason why these guys are kind of being mocked more towards early day 3, round 4, round 5, than they are in round 1, round 2, or in round 3
Absolutely.
At this point. But good question, JTC. We got another super chat here, or are we doing a little bit of a like drive?
Yeah, I think we're good here. Let's get some people to like the video. The draft begins in 1 minute.
The draft begins in 1 minute. The first annual live 3-round mock draft here at Chat Sports. We have every single studio packed right now.
To the brim.
Like, during the NFL draft, we will be live in all of our studios here at Chat Sports Studios in Dallas, Texas. We're doing the same thing today. We'll be using our draft pick software to kind of stress test our graphics for the NFL draft. So this is kind of a sneak preview of what it's going to look like on these channels here once we get to our live draft coverage a week from today.
Oh, and this is no shock. First pick is already in.
The first pick is already in round 1, and I think we all know what it's going to be.
We all know what it's going to be.
We all know what it's going to be. Has it been reported in production?
It has, but we'll wait for Sam to put it in the graphics.
Sounds good.
There it is. All right. With the first pick in the Chat Sports mock draft.
It is Cam Ward out of Miami, the quarterback, and of course this is the pick that everyone is expecting. Cam Ward went on a podcast yesterday, I think it was, and he was talking about his favorite players in the league. He was asked to rank his 4 best running backs, and he named all 4 running backs on the Tennessee Titans roster. So, it's obvious he's dug in. He's probably been told he's going to be the first overall pick.
And do you think this is the right pick?
I do think it's the right pick. Cam Ward is a really good player. I have a top 10 grade on him. I think he's a top 10 player in any draft class. Now, is he as good as some of the number 1 overall picks that we've seen in years past? No. But, I think he would have been a top 10 pick last year in even last year's loaded quarterback class. I think he's better than J.J. McCarthy. I think he's a better prospect than Bo Nix, better prospect than Michael Penix Jr. All right, so the next upcoming picks here, you got the Cleveland Steamers, the Browns. Matthew Peterson is going to be the one making the pick.
F the Browns.
F the Browns. F the Browns. And then you got the Giants, which, of course, is a big rival of the Washington Commanders, with Marshall Green picking at number 3. I think we all know the next 2 picks. It's just a matter
of which order.
Just a matter of order here, where Will Petey go with what the Browns will probably do in Travis Hunter? Andrew Barry, their GM, Coop, the Browns GM, compared him to Shohei Ohtani today. All right, if you have a Shohei Ohtani in the draft and you can get him, I feel like you gotta take that.
Do we think he's of that caliber? Shohei Ohtani might be the best athlete on the planet.
Yeah, and I don't know. All right,
the pick is in.
All right,
it's kind of a surprise.
It's a little bit of a surprise. All right, he must have had a sticky note that says Travis Hunter, no matter what, on there. Reference to the movie Draft Day, one of the worst movies of all time, by the way. But Travis Hunter is the pick, cornerback, wide receiver out of Colorado, and seems like Cleveland's going to play him both ways.
Yeah, and they should.
Yes.
But the question is, can you play 120 snaps a game?
Yeah, and I think the big question with Travis going into the league is, can he sustain it?
Exactly,
for a long period of time. Can he play be a two-way player for 10 plus years? Obviously the injury risk increases, but I know that the Cleveland Browns love the analytical side of player evaluation, and essentially you're drafting 2 players in one and 2 high-end players in 1 year with Travis Hunter.
Now the question becomes, when it's time for a second contract, does he get paid as both a corner and a receiver? Is he going to get paid $60 million a year on his next contract for playing 2 positions?
I mean, he's going to ask for it. I'm going to guarantee you that. Travis is going to be interesting because if he's a 2-way player and he's an elite player at both positions, he might ask to get money for both positions.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see how his kind of NFL journey kind of plays out.
I think number 3 is in.
Pick number 3 is in, and Marshall Green of Giants now has selected Abdul Carter, edge rusher out of Penn State. Now,
which we expected.
Yeah, which we expected. And, as Marshall likes to say on his show, drafting Abdul Carter would give the Giants an identity of a true, incredible pass rush. Their pass rush was good last year.
Yes, it was.
And now you add Abdul Carter to that edge group. You got one of the best edge rusher trios in the league, kind of entering the same conversation as the Pittsburgh Steelers with TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig. But Carter is generational in his acceleration and his bend off the edge. Now, he's on the ground a lot in run defense, so his balance needs to be a bit better, and he doesn't use power a whole lot when he's rushing quarterbacks.
Do you have a current pass rusher comp for him?
Micah Parsons.
Okay.
Smaller Micah Parsons. So he's not quite as big, but he moves like him. Super explosive. Maybe the best true acceleration I've ever seen from an edge rusher prospect. And then he's got incredible bend. If you don't have the foot speed to keep up with Abdul Carter, he's just going to eat you alive all game long, plain and simply. All right. So pairing him up with Brian Burns, who's also a legitimate number 1 edge, gives the New York Giants defense some real fear factor there. Really does. So I like that pick for New York. I just don't think that there's some rumors that they might take Ashton Genty at 3 if they really like him. There's still
no way, really?
There's still some rumors that Shadur Sanders could still be in play for the Giants at 3.
Pick number 4 is in.
Pick number 4 is in, and it is Will Campbell. Allie Barefoot, our Patriots Today host, takes the offensive tackle out of LSU. Mike Vrabel has spoken very glowingly about Will Campbell. He's called him a left tackle, and he believes he will play left tackle in the league. Very clean tape, really, really good footwork and just general pass protecting technique. He's got kind of shorter arms, but I think that this is a good pick. You got to protect Drake May if you are the New England Patriots. What's that?
Do you think he plays tackle?
I do think he plays tackle, at least to start, and then, they'll kind of see where things go from there. He certainly has the capability to kick into guard if it doesn't work out at tackle, but make no mistake, you're spending a 4th overall pick on a tackle, not an interior offensive line player. So next up here, it is...
Oh, my goodness.
Wait.
This is a simulated.
This is simulated?
Yep.
Okay, so this is a simulated pick. We do not have a host making this pick, and this is what I was worried about with the simulator here. Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State, goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Is that even possible?
I don't see it happening. Everybody's taking Mason Graham here, so Mason Graham is still available. This is why I wanted somebody, like an actual person doing this, because the simulators suck. I'm sorry, they do. The simulators suck.
Full disclosure, this is a graphics stress test for us, so it may not be the most accurate mock draft there is. Sperry's triggered by this one.
I am, because it's just not. I mean, Warren's a good player, don't get me wrong. But I just don't see, like, Liam Cohen is an 11 personnel kind of guy. They need a tight end, don't get me wrong. Like, I guess it's not impossible. If they love Tyler Warren, I guess it's not impossible. So I actually don't hate the pick because right now they don't have a lot of tight end talent on the roster. And this is a deep defensive tackle class. So if they love Tyler Warren and he is a really good player, I can't say it's necessarily like the worst pick in the world.
Let's see where Mitchell Renz goes here at 6 with the Las Vegas Raiders.
He's taking Armin Membu. Or actually, he
Mason Graham.
Or maybe he might be selling it off to the highest bidder because that's what he might be doing.
He admitted that he was.
Yeah. So I think Renz might take kind of a long time here because I think he's gonna wind down the clock, and what he's gonna do is he's gonna sell the pick to the highest bidder.
Oh, the pick is in.
The pick is in. I have no idea. I'm not looking at production. So we'll see who the pick is here momentarily. My guess is it's going to be Genty. And there it is. Genty's off the board, running back out of Boise State. My number 2 overall prospect in this year's class.
You have him at number 2 on the big board.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like him. I think that he's going to be a really, really good player. Obviously, Pete Carroll, the head coach there in Vegas now. He's not trying to rebuild, all right? He is in his mid-70s, or I think, or is it low 70s?
Yeah, he's like 73.
Yeah, he's approaching his mid-70s. Like, he's not planning to be around for very long in Vegas, all right? He's kind of like a bridge type of head coach, but he wants to win, all right? And Ashton Genty is somebody that can be his quote-unquote Marshawn Lynch. He's not as big as Beast Mode was, but he breaks tackles like crazy. He's a big play machine. Workhorse kind of production, so he's got the stamina to be an every down back. This is certainly something that's a possibility for the Las Vegas Raiders.
It appears we have the next 2 picks.
And we have the next 2 picks ready to go here. The New York Jets are taking Armin Membu, offensive tackle out of Missouri. I think that
seems
like
to
a
be
certainty.
the lock.
Yeah, that seems almost like a lock at this point because they're really prioritizing the run game. Obviously, that's like a Ben Johnson style offense. Offensive line is super important. You got Justin Fields. We all Steelers fans watching this stream right now know how important it is to protect him, give him time to throw because he takes forever to throw the football. So Membu really does seem like the pick there at 7. Then Mason Graham comes off the board to the Carolina Panthers, pairing him up with Derek Brown there in Charlotte. I think it's more like that's probably what a simulated pick.
It was.
Yeah, I think that they're more likely to go edge rusher because they really need an edge rusher. They got Jadeveon Clowney. But
if it falls like this, though, with Graham on the board.
I actually like Mike Green. I have Mike Green higher on my board than Mason Graham. Graham's a really good player, but I think the bigger need and honestly the more impactful position, in my opinion, is true edge rusher.
So the first 8 picks are as follows.
So those are the first 8 picks right now. Cam Ward, right now we have a little bit of a break, correct? Yep. Okay, so we have a little bit of a break before the New Orleans Saints pick at number 9. Cam Ward went off the board first. Travis Hunter went to the Browns at number 2. Abdul Carter was the pick at number 3. Will Campbell was the pick at number 4. Tyler Warren was the pick at number 5. Ashton Genty goes to the Raiders at 6. Armin Membu to the Jets at 7. And Mason Graham is the pick for the Carolina Panthers at 8.
Is this going to be a quarterback from Trace Gerard?
I mean, we'll see. It sounds like the Saints are going to be passing on Shedeur Lins, but could he take Jackson Dart here? My prediction is he takes a position. He's going to take best player available from whoever he thinks that is. My prediction, he's going to take Tet McMillan. He loves Tet McMillan. That's my prediction right here, is I think he's going to go Tet McMillan out of Arizona, but we'll see how well I know Trizzy Trace.
Trizzy's unpredictable.
Trizzy can be unpredictable. I mean, who knows? It could be Jackson Dart. I honestly think that might be the pick. I actually think it might be the pick.
You think in real life that might be the pick?
He's got a ton of college experience. He's still only 22 years old. He's got some big-time throws on his film. Now, I don't think his pocket presence is very good. He predetermines throws, which leads to turnover-worthy plays, and he's played some of his worst football in the fourth quarter with the game close in big games. So those are certainly red flags. I personally wouldn't take any other quarterback in round one this year other than Cam Ward, and that's it. All right, that's the only quarterback that I would really be thrilled to take in round 1 this season.
Trizzy Trace is on the clock.
Trizzy Trace is officially on the clock with the New Orleans Saints at number 9. And my guess is it's going to be Tet McMillan. That is my guess.
You think Tet?
Who do you think it's going to be? What's your prediction here?
I think he might go Shedeur Lins.
The Saints literally came out today and leaked it to Adam Schefter that they're not interested in him.
Yeah, true.
So I just don't know if that's because I was listening to Triz talk about this pick a couple days ago, and he was saying that he thinks they're going to take a player, not a quarterback. By the way,
the pick is in?
No way. It is in, and I was wrong. The Shedeur Lins era is coming to the Big Easy. Trizzy Trace.
In Chat Sports World.
In Chat Sports World. It's not going to happen in real life, at least if you believe Adam Schefter, but Trizzy Trace is going with Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado.
Do you think?
And honestly, I'm a little relieved here because I know that if Shedeur was on the board at 21 for our Steelers audience, there would be a lot of clamoring to take Shedeur, and I don't want to take him. I think he stinks.
The reports notwithstanding of he may or may not be interested in them or vice versa, would this be a good pick for the Saints?
I think Sanders fits kind of what they want to do. Right now he's comfortable running a lot of shotgun, heavy, kind of spread formations, quick game, RPOs. That's a lot of the stuff that Kellen Moore wants to bring to his offense there in New Orleans. And I think Shedeur is a decent fit, but there's some reporting that the Saints, the visits and the meetings that they've had with Sanders have not gone well.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's been multiple reports that Sanders has been a poor interviewee throughout the process. There was a report from Aaron Wilson that he actually broke on our Texans show, Texans Today, yesterday. He said the Steelers, the visit didn't go well with Shedeur in Pittsburgh either. And, of course, there was multiple reports of draft meetings at the Combine going wrong for Shedeur Sanders. So we'll see where he ends up going. I kind of doubt at this point he goes top 10. Would a team trade up for him in the first? We'll see. Honestly, I don't think he's necessarily like a first-round talent. So we'll see if anyone disagrees with me on that once we get to a week from today. But we do have a pick at number 10, and it is Mike Green, one of my favorite edge rushers in this entire class. Reminds me a lot of Khalil Mack out of Marshall here. Green is awesome. He's an awesome player, Coop. He can beat you with speed. He's got great bend around the edge. He can beat you with a number of different finesse moves. He's got a great spin move, which is just ferocious.
Do you think he fits into any system?
Yeah, for the most part, he's 200. He's a little bit lighter. He's probably fits better as a outside linebacker in a 3-4.
Okay.
But like he's big enough to play in a 4-man front. He's good enough against the run to do that kind of stuff too. I think that he's a top 10 player in this class, and I think if you want to pair him up with Montez Sweat, our Commanders audience knows quite well how good Montez can be, especially as a run defender. Now you get the guy to get after quarterbacks in Mike Green. Honestly, I think that if Genty's off the board, Ben Johnson's going to take Omari and Hampton there. Don't sleep on Hampton at number 10.
Chase is not in the office today, so come on now, Chip. We'll be making this pick.
Jake Chipper, Chase Sr. is out. Is he sick? I'm guessing he's sick.
He is on PTO.
Oh, he's on PTO. Okay. So Jake Chipper, his producer, will be making the picks for both the 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles here at number 11. Now, the speculation here is a lot of defensive tackle, some edge rusher, some corner.
None of which you mentioned is where he went.
Where did he go? So the pick is in.
I guess you could say he's an edge rusher.
Well, I see it. He's an edge rusher.
You're calling him an edge.
Yeah, Jalen Walker to me, I have a late round 1 grade on him. I think he will get taken in round 1, and you can make a very good argument he deserves to be round 1. But like number 6 overall on the big board for ESPN, I think is too high. I don't think he can play off-ball linebacker. The Georgia didn't really even use him as an off-ball linebacker. They used him as a pass rushing specialist. I've heard that he's a great leader, and he's somebody that people really love in the Georgia locker room. And obviously he's been getting some buzz to go top 10. So, with Nick Bosa still there in San Francisco, they pair him up with Jalen Walker at the other edge position. I'm interested to see what San Francisco and Chip is going to do with the rest of that team here for the rest of their draft picks, because they still need defensive tackle help, man. They got rid of Javon Hargrave. There's a lot of different things that team needs, especially defensive tackle. So I'm a little surprised they didn't go DT. But here at number 12, I completely agree with Tom Downey's pick here, our Cowboys host. By the way, Tom and I are going to be heading up our main Chat Sports coverage of round 1 of the NFL Draft next week, Thursday, for round 1 of the NFL Draft. He takes Teodoro McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona.
Great pick.
Great pick, man. He's my number 1 receiver in this class. I think he's an even better receiver than Travis Hunter, and I think Travis is a really freaking good receiver. So I think Teodoro is going to be a star in this league. He's got the size to be an X, but he's got the athleticism, the oily hips, and the route running chops of a Z. So, you can play him anywhere in the alignment, and he is going to make incredible catches for you down the field. You pair him up with CeeDee Lamb, who, of course, is phenomenal in the slot. I mean, good luck trying to guard Teodoro McMillan on the outside with CeeDee Lamb in the slot. You're just not going to be able to do it. So a dynamic wide receiver duo for the Dallas Cowboys. Then we get pick number 13, where Will Johnson, who I think is a perfect fit for Miami's defense, comes off the board.
Especially if Jalen Ramsey is gone.
Yeah, and Jalen Ramsey might get traded here. Obviously, we're not doing any trades in this mock draft, but Will Johnson, with the huge need at corner, he played this defense at Michigan, the Mike McDonald defense. All right, so off coverage, lots of man match principles, lots of quarters, lots of cover 6, rotating coverages. Will Johnson has done all of it. All right, so he's going to be the number 1 corner for that team on day 1, because he's been the number 1 corner in this defense for the last several seasons in Ann Arbor. All right, so love that pick for the Miami Dolphins. Who did Harry pick again? Mike Green?
Yep.
And then Jalen Walker went to the 49ers. Teodoro McMillan went to the Cowboys. And then Will Johnson went to the Miami Dolphins. We have our next pick here, and I believe this is a simulated pick. Jihad Campbell, off-ball linebacker out of Alabama, going to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I think if we had a real person making this pick, most people would have picked Colston Loveland because they need a tight end there in Indianapolis. But, I don't necessarily hate the pick. Campbell's a good player. Maybe it's a little bit rich for him. I think he's by far the best off-ball linebacker in this class. He's got some versatility on pass-happy downs to rush the passer, something that the Colts could still use. They got Kwity Paye as a really good run-defending early down edge rusher, and they got Leatu Latu in the draft last year. But Campbell can play off-ball linebacker on the early downs for that defense and then potentially work some edge as well when you're in your nickel and dime sets.
This is a great pick from Matthew Peterson, in my opinion.
So now Matthew Peterson is back on the clock. So Petey's got 3 teams: Browns, Falcons, and Broncos.
That's right.
All right. So if you think it's crazy I cover 2 teams, Petey covers 3 teams. All right. By the way, it's pretty standard. And Chat Sports host Chase covers 2 teams.
Yep.
Harry covered 2 teams for a very long time. Lots of people in this company cover multiple teams, by the way. Weird pick. Nick Imenwori.
I love the pick.
Safety out of South Carolina. I think this is too early for him. I think that he still needs a little bit of time before he develops into the true defensive weapon he's capable of becoming. Big size, explosive athleticism, great long speed, tight end eraser in man coverage. He's got the ability to play free safety, strong safety, and nickel corner from a physical skill set perspective. He can even play hybrid linebacker if you need him to. And that versatility is going to be something that a lot of these teams really cherish heading into the NFL draft. I do think it's a little bit early because I don't think he's a good run defender. I think he's much better as a deep safety than he is a box safety, which is probably what he's going to be asked to do in the league. But, there with Raheem Morris in Atlanta, he's going to be kind of like a cover 4 kind of quarters safety, which I don't hate whatsoever. I think that's actually a pretty decent fit right there. I think a lot of people expect them to go edge, which is why it's a little bit surprising. But I don't hate the fit there whatsoever. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time before he becomes the player that he needs to become. I think he's going to take some lumps in his rookie season playing in that system. All right, so 15 obviously
intern Sam messed up something with the graphics, so he's fixing it.
Come on, intern Sam. What are we doing, man? But hey, at least I don't have to think about taking – Imenwori is 67th on the PFF big board right now. He's actually gone down since
67th?
Yeah.
That's actually nuts.
So right now
but you think he's a first-round pick, do you not?
I think that he's got first-round traits to bet on. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's a first-round caliber player immediately, just because I don't think he's a great run defender, and I think that really his best fit for year 1. Oh no, Donovan Ezeraku. I'm gonna let you guys know a little secret here. That's the player I was planning to take for the Washington Commanders. All right, I really like Ezeraku. 16.5 sacks, led college football last year for Boston College, and the Commanders need a bona fide pass rushing threat.
Now, there's a player on the board that I love for the Steelers at 21 who is still there.
That you love. Are you talking about Matthew Golden because you're a Texas Longhorn fan?
Nope.
Well, the person that I want to take for the Steelers is still there. I will say that.
You are very close, though.
Wide receiver. Why am I blanking on Barron? Oh, you want me to take Barron?
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to take Barron. I'm just going to let you know right now. They haven't shown enough interest in him. For that to be
he's
a
gone
realistic
anyway.
Possibility. All right, we got the next 2 picks here. Jahdae Barron out of Texas going to the Cincinnati Bengals. I actually think that that's a decent fit because they need a lot of help.
Yes,
they need help in the secondary, and they need help in the trenches there in Cincinnati. So getting a really good nickel corner like Jahdae Barron to help them out right away, I think is a really good pick for Cincinnati. Then Colston Loveland, the tight end. Tyler Jones picked a tight end?
It's Tyler Jones.
He has been saying he's going to crash out if they don't take an offensive lineman. Then they take Colston Loveland, who I don't even think is that good.
What do you expect?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Loveland is a decent player. I think he's a late round 1, early round 2 kind of prospect. I know a lot of people that I respect are really high on him, but when I watch him on film, guys, I just don't see a whole lot of dynamic specialness to his game. We have our next pick, by the way, and the Steelers are coming up here soon. Shamar Stewart is off the board, going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
So once we're on the clock, I'm going to do a weigh-in for 30 seconds. Who should we pick? And then
sounds good.
You can submit it.
So we are almost on the clock for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And unfortunately, this is what I thought was going to happen, and it makes sense for the Denver Broncos, and it would have been probably the player I would have taken here. And it is Omarion Hampton.
No
running
way.
back out of North Carolina. That's the player that I wanted to take and for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now we are on the clock. So let me know down there in the comment section, Steelers fans, who should we take at this point? Shadur Sanders is off the board. Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, quarterback still on. We don't know whether Aaron Rodgers is going to be here. I'm looking at the people that are still on the board here. We got Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon. All of them are on the board here. All right, defensive tackle is obviously a big need. Do I just send it in whenever
I'm ready?
All right, the player I'm going to select here, guys.
Don't tell them. Send it here, and then we will reveal.
All right. All right.
Pick is in.
The pick is in. You guys will see who I picked here in just a moment. Let me know, Steelers fans in the chat, who do you want me to pick at this spot? Got all 3 of the top defensive tackles on the board. Travion Henderson is a name to keep your eye out for at this pick. Might be trying to go give Aaron Rodgers a potential weapon to work with on offense. I see some for Dart. I see trade back. I can't trade, unfortunately, guys. No trades in this mock.
And
I see Harmon. I see Grant. I see Nolan.
Without further ado, with the 21st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select
Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. All right, the Steelers have shown a lot of interest in him, had a top 30 visit, and I think that he'd be a perfect heir apparent to Cam Hayward, who's in the final 2 years of his NFL career. Obviously, he can help out in the rotation right away. He can play 5 technique or 3 technique in their 5-man odd fronts, but he can also help rush the passer in a rotation, keeping not only Cam Hayward, but also Keanu Benton fresh throughout the season. It gives you a clear plan for the future at defensive tackle once Cam Hayward eventually retires, while also maintaining elite depth at the defensive trenches for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They already have one of the best edge rusher groups in the league with TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig. Now they add to the interior of their defensive line with a very solid Derek Harmon, who is one of the most disruptive players in this entire NFL draft.
Why do you go Harmon over Grant?
I think that Harmon well, first of all, the Steelers didn't have a top 30 visit with Kenneth Grant. Now, I don't think it's impossible that they take Kenneth Grant, but I do think Harmon kind of fits the mold of like a Cam Hayward type to eventually replace his role in the defense. All right, he can help you out right away. Keanu Benton obviously can still play nose tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And plain and simply, guys, like Harmon's a good run defender. He's not a great run defender, but he's a good one, very solid. And then he's extremely disruptive. Getting after quarterbacks is super important for the Steelers defense, especially on early downs. And then they like to throw a bunch of fire zone blitzes on 3rd down. But getting home with 4 or 5 is very important for them on early downs. Derek Harmon is going to help them out right away and help them out for the future.
Grade the pick.
Grade the pick for us down there in the chat there. Reed is giving it an F. A lot of D's and F's. I think a lot of people want quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm surprised you didn't go Tyler Shuck.
But what I'll say here, guys, is I don't think the Steelers are taking quarterback round 1. I think that they know that Rodgers is going to sign with them eventually. He's just dealing with some quote-unquote personal issues, which is what he said on the Pat McAfee show. certainly seems like the Steelers have been made aware of the things that Rodgers is going through, and they feel like eventually he will sign with the team. So because of that, I don't think they feel a particular need to draft a quarterback in round 1. There's no quarterbacks available on the board that I would be thrilled to get at number 21. I would love to trade down, but I can't do that. So I'm getting somebody to help the Steelers defense immediately and for the future. Got the next couple picks here. Kenneth Grant goes to the Los Angeles Chargers. Of course, Michigan man going back to play for Jim Harbaugh. Luther Burden III, Missouri wide receiver, going to the Green Bay Packers. I actually think that's a pretty sneaky good pick right there for the Green Bay Packers. Malachi Starks, very, very good defensive back. My favorite nickel defender in this entire class, even over Jahdae Barron.
So you think he plays more of a nickel versus safety?
Well, I think he can play whatever they want. And, Miami, or they base in bandit, which means 3 safeties there with Brian Flores. So they play 3 safeties all the time. Starks is a perfect fit because he pretty much played that role in Georgia because they like to do a lot of 3 safety stuff there as well.
And they extended Cam Bynum as well, right?
Yes, they did.
So that would be a hell of a safety duo there.
100%. All right, I'm going to update everything here.
Texans are on the clock.
Houston Texans are on the clock at number 25. There's still some pretty good offensive tackles still available here, Coop.
Absolutely.
Luther Burden, then Malachi Starks. So the Commanders pick is obviously coming up here soon.
Let's take a look at who's available on the board.
James Pierce Jr. is still there.
Here's your best available.
Walter Nolan out of Mississippi, Michael Williams, Josh Simmons, Calvin Banks. Interesting right there. Could play tackle, could play guard.
Where would you'd put him on the right side if you?
Well, I'd put him at left guard from the Commanders. You got, obviously, Laramie Tunsil that you traded for this year. You drafted Brandon Coleman last year. You still have Andrew Wiley. It sounds like they're going to have those two compete for the right tackle spot. Left guard is a position that they could upgrade. Obviously, they have Jaden Daniels. Protecting him is going to be important, so I'm going to be keeping my eye. Banks might be the pick here to Houston, though, so we'll see.
It is another Texas Longhorn that is going here.
Is a different one?
There is.
So I'm guessing Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden has fallen all the way to number 25 here. And I think, with Tank Dell.
He's a Houston native, too.
He's a Houston native. I mean, it just makes too much sense. If Matthew Golden is on the board for the Houston Texans here, it just makes too much sense. They do need offensive line help more than they need receiver, but Golden is probably, the best player available on the board. So Jeremy Chuggs, our Texans host, made that pick.
Just a reminder, after the first round, game time read.
Sounds good, yes.
The Rams are on the clock. We'll see what intern Jackson Durham wants to do here.
Yeah, we'll see. I have no idea where he's going with this pick.
No clue.
It'd be hilarious if he took Tyler Shutt because he's like the most anti-Shutt guy in the office.
They have Jimmy G as their backup.
They do, and they like Jimmy. But the Washington Commanders pick is coming up here.
Another Longhorn is taken.
Calvin Banks?
Yep.
Okay. Getting a little bit older on the offensive line there in L.A. They did just re-up their left tackle, I believe, Alaric Jackson.
Yes, they did.
This offseason. So Banks would probably play interior line for them eventually. But, just making sure that offensive line is pretty much injury-proof while getting somebody that's going to be a starter for them either at tackle or at guard for a very, very long time. And so Joey Peterson's on the clock here for the Baltimore Ravens. Going to be in a tough fucking spot here, guys.
You have 60 seconds. Once you're on the clock.
Yeah, once I'm on the clock. But the pick is in, and I'm kind of pissed.
You had to know he was taking
Yeah, I
him.
know. He told me yesterday he was going to make this pick. He told me yesterday he's going to make this pick, and I'm not surprised he's making it. God, man, where do I go? All right. I have.
You got a guy?
I think I got a guy. I think I've got a guy here.
Let's go, Brown. Put in the pick.
So for our Steelers audience, we took Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. Got a top 30 visit with the Steelers this past week. Steelers showing a lot of interest in him. And if I were making the pick and with the players that were available, that's what I would do with it if I couldn't trade down.
Still, there's some good names on this list.
There are some good names on this list. I'm debating between a couple different players here.
All right, you are on the clock.
All right, Walter Nolan gets taken by the Detroit Lions, and now the Washington Commanders are on the clock.
Who should we pick for the Commanders?
So right now you got guys like Emeka Egbuka, Jaden Higgins, who I really like out of Iowa State, is here. Could also take Gray Zabel to be your starting left guard. Could also, yeah, man, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Gray Zabel or a receiver. Mykel Williams is a possibility, but I think they want a true edge rush, like pass rusher. Mykel Williams is more of a run defending type of player. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a receiver for Jaden Daniels to build with here. So I'm going to put this in right now.
Wow. That is a shocker, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to take an offensive player here to help out Jaden Daniels, somebody that he can grow with for the rest of his career. We will reveal who that is for our Commanders audience here in just one moment. And I think that this one might surprise some people. But
that was a shocker.
But I feel very good about this pick. I feel very, very good I would feel very, very good if the Commanders made this pick.
With the 29th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select
Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State. You guys can see here, big body, 6'4" and a quarter inch, and 214 pounds. But don't get it twisted, guys. This guy is one of the most athletic guys in the entire class. Runs a 4.4, and what I love about him is that he does everything fast. He doesn't slow down for anything. He's just a smooth player, great route runner, can win at the catch point down the field. He can be your true route running presence on the other side of Terry McLaurin. And with McLaurin and Higgins here in Washington, you got two guys, not just one, that's big, that's a deep threat, that's a really good route runner, and is good after the catch. So you're getting two really awesome players. And even though I do expect Scary Terry to get a contract extension this offseason, Higgins is going to be on his rookie contract, and eventually he will be the future number one receiver that can grow alongside Jaden Daniels, while they're both under contract on their rookie deals. So this is what the Athletic's Dane Brugler had to say about Jaden Higgins, as Higgins is an ascending height, weight, speed athlete with the physicality and catch radius to be a productive NFL starter as he continues developing his route and release precision. His game is similar to what Nico Collins put on tape at Michigan. And, you know, whatever you guys know what Nico Collins has become in the league. He's one of my favorite receivers in the entire National Football League, one of the most well-rounded receivers in the entire league. So, listen, man, I would have liked to gone edge rusher here. If James Pierce Jr. was here, I would have taken him. All right? If Donovan Ezeraku was here, I would have taken him. If Kelvin Banks Jr. was here, I would have seriously thought about taking him. I really did think about taking Gray Zabel with that pick, because Zabel, I think, can start for the Commanders day one at left guard. But I also think the Commanders can get a starting caliber guard on day 2 or day 3 in this class. And, you know, I just want to give Jaden Daniels every single possibility to have success, not only this year, but moving forward. I think Higgins is going to be a legit number one wide receiver in the National Football League for a long time. And with this, you secure yourself, or at least I think I'm securing myself, a top 2 or top 5 wide receiver duo in football for at least the next 4 years. So grade the pick for me down there in the comment section, Commanders fans, A, B, C, D, or F. I would have been fine with Emeka Egbuka too. I thought about Egbuka, but getting another Ohio State Buckeye, versatile. I would be perfectly fine with Egbuka there too, but I do have Higgins ranked higher, and I think that his upside as a true number one, I do think is a bit higher than Egbuka's. So Trey Amos, our Steeler Smitty here, has taken Amos, one of my favorite corners out of Ole Miss. I love that pick. Great scheme fit for what Buffalo wants to do. Really good off-zone corner out of Ole Miss. So I like that pick. What do you think of the pick there, Coop? I know it's a little bit of,
little out of the box. A little controversy in our Slack channel.
Yeah, and a lot of people thought I was going to take Mykel Williams. But I think that there's going to be some pretty darn good designated pass rusher types at edge in round 2 that I can choose from. I can also choose from a couple in round 4 as well, even though this is a 3-round mock.
Why do you think Higgins is a better fit than Egbuka?
Well, I think they'd both be fits.
Okay.
It's just a matter of which one do I think is better right now. I think Higgins, gives you a little bit more because Egbuka, I think that he doesn't necessarily give you the juice to be a true number one in the future. I think Higgins does. Gray Zabel here, tackle, guard, center, wherever you want to put him, out of North Dakota State, goes off the board to Kansas City. I think that's a good pick for the reigning AFC champions.
Let's see what Chippa does here.
Let's see what Chip does here. I'm somebody that really thinks they're going to take Tyler Booker because they just lost Mekhi.
Possibly.
They just lost Mekhi Becton. Tyler Booker is very similar, in my opinion, to Mekhi Becton as a right guard. Tyler Steen is okay, but I don't know if they truly trust him to take Mekhi Becton's spot on that offensive line heading into next year.
We will. So after this final pick, we'll just zoom through the first round, then we'll do the game time read.
Perfect. All right. It looks like the pick is in.
The pick is in. So we'll go ahead. We'll show you guys that here in just a moment. But first, let's go recap the first round really quick here.
Cam Ward went to the Tennessee Titans. First overall, Travis Hunter. A little bit of surprise. Matthew Peterson took Travis Hunter at number 2. Abdul Carter goes to the Giants at 3. Will Campbell goes to the Pats at 4. Tyler Warren, a little bit of a surprise pick there, goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars at 5. Ashton Genty goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. Membu, as expected, goes to the Jets. Mason Graham goes to the Carolina Panthers. Shad Orleans begins in New Orleans here with the number 9 pick. Got Mike Green, edge rusher out of Marshall, going to the Bears. Jalen Walker, another edge rusher out of Georgia, going to San Francisco. Tedorora McMillan, really good pick for the Cowboys right there at number 12. Will Johnson, perfect fit for Miami's defense. Jahad Campbell going to Indianapolis. Nick Emenwari with the 15th overall pick. You got Donovan Ezeraku going to the Arizona Cardinals. Jahdae Barron out of Texas going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Colson Loveland is the pick for Tyler Jones in the Seahawks Today crew. You got Shamar Stewart going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Omarion Hampton cucking the Steelers at number 20. Then you got Derek Harmon out of Oregon going to the Steelers at 21. Kenneth Grant out of Michigan going to go play with Harbaugh again there with the Los Angeles Chargers. Luther Burden III to the Green Bay Packers at 23. Malachi Starks at number 24 to the Vikings. Matthew Golden, a steal for the Houston Texans. I just realized Luther Burden III got taken ahead of Matthew Golden. A little surprising there. Kelvin Banks Jr. goes to the Los Angeles Rams. James Pierce Jr. Out of Tennessee goes to Baltimore. Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss goes to the Detroit Lions. I take Jaden Higgins to be the next big-time wide receiver in Washington. Trey Amos, cornerback out of Ole Miss, goes to Buffalo. Gray Zabel goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. And then Mykel Williams out of Georgia, the final pick in round 1 for Jake Chipper's Philadelphia Eagles.
Keeps the Georgia pipeline going.
So before we get going here with round 2 of this mock draft, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time. And the NBA playoffs are getting started this week. And if you want to experience the energy and the stakes of playoff basketball, you can get great seats at guaranteed low prices with our friends at Game Time today. You guys can get 60% off tickets or up to 60% off tickets to whatever event you guys want to go see. If it's a sporting event, if it's a concert, is it a comedy event, or a theater performance, it doesn't matter. If you guys can get tickets to an event, you can get it on Game Time for the lowest price guarantee. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. The Cleveland Cavaliers have locked up the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this season, heading into the playoffs, and you can experience their playoff run in the weeks to come, just over a 2-hour drive from Pittsburgh. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports. It's one word, all caps, ChatSports, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code ChatSports. It's one word, all caps, ChatSports. That's ChatSports for $20 off that first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, so upcoming picks. Got the Browns, got the Giants, got the Titans, and the Jaguars here as the four picks here to kick off round 2. Of course, here in round 2, we're only going to be making one pick, and it is for the Washington Commanders at number 61. So we got some time to kind of kill here, Coop. So I want to talk a little bit here as the picks start coming in. We do have a super chat from Gary Frank that we can get to here in just a moment. But I do want to talk a little bit here about what we heard from Aaron Rodgers today. For our Steelers audience, because he went on the Pat McAfee show.
Just so you guys know, we are live on Commanders as well.
Yes, we are live on Commanders as well. Gary says, Jack, you comment all the time that the Steelers do too much on defense. Then you go draft a defensive player. WTF, running back or quarterback? Well, I mean, the 2 running backs that I would have taken in round 1 got taken in Genty and Hampton. I wasn't allowed to trade up. And then Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Gary, I don't know what to tell you. It certainly seems like Rodgers and the Steelers have kind of like a mutual understanding that Rodgers has some quote-unquote personal issues that he has to attend to before he makes the full season commitment. I still feel like really, really good chance Rodgers is the Steelers starting quarterback. And if that's the case, I don't think you need to reach on a quarterback that's not worth a first-round pick. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is worth a first. I don't think Jackson Dart is worth a first. If you guys know that if the Steelers do take a quarterback in round 1, my preference is actually Louisville's Tyler Shuck, but I have a round 2 grade on Shuck. The reality is he's going to be 26, which is a concern. He's had serious injury concerns, which is a red flag. And then I do think that, although his tape is, I think, a lot more pro-ready than guys like Dart and Sanders at this point, it's not perfect, all right? So, I like Shuck. I don't like him enough where I'm going to take him, especially in round 1, especially if I think Rodgers is going to be the starting quarterback. Because if I think Rodgers is coming here and I'm taking a guy that's going to be 26 next year and he's going to be a backup, especially in round 1, I just don't think that makes a lot of sense. So listen, man, Gary, don't you worry, man. There's still a lot of picks to go. Not only in this mock draft, but the draft in general. And, this is a very good running back class. If you take a defensive tackle in round 1, you can get a really, really good running back still in round 3, even in round 4, in my opinion, in this year's draft class. So, I think defensive tackle, running back, and quarterback are 3 positions that they will address relatively early. But, yeah, it should be. If you take a look at the Steelers draft profile here, guys, as you guys can see here, I don't think whoever put this list together, it definitely wasn't me, but the Steelers don't necessarily need wide receiver. They could use one on day 3, but I would say defensive tackle and running back are the 2 biggest ones for sure. They could add a nickel corner. They could add potentially a developmental outside corner. They could add a safety. There's a bunch of different things that they could do. But, I think the 3 positions right now that I think they're going to spend their first 3 draft selections on, barring a George Pickens trade, which I don't think is going to happen, I think they're going to take defensive tackle, running back, and quarterback with their first 3 picks. So first round, third round, fourth round. I think that the Steelers, based on the players that were still available on the board, Gary, I still think, the Steelers can get a developmental quarterback that they like in round 3, and I still think that they can get a really good running back prospect to pair with Jalen Moore in round 3 or round 4. When I took a look at those 3 positions, the best player available on the board at those three positions was the defensive tackle, Derek Harmon. All right, so I think that that's a realistic kind of scenario for the Steelers. The Steelers really seem to like Derek, and if he's available there at 21 and they can't trade down, I do think it's a possibility he ends up being the pick. So that's why I went the way I went for that. Then when it comes to the Commanders, as we get ready for the second round, where they pick at number 21, they've got needs at safety. I think that after getting rid of Jeremy Chin, or not getting rid of him, he went to the Raiders in free agency this year. They bring in Will Harris, but he's just not very good. He's okay. He's a decent, dime backer, kind of chess piece type of player, but he's not a true box safety, which is what the Commanders defense really requires. There wasn't really any true strong safeties available at the pick in the first round, so I didn't take a safety. They also need an edge rusher. Specifically, I think they need somebody to fill Dante Fowler Jr.'s role as a designated pass rusher. All right, so if we get a guy that I really believe in as a designated pass rusher on day one at number 61, that is certainly something I'm going to consider at number 61. Yeah, I wanted Ezeraku. I went into that first round saying if Ezeraku or Pierce is there at number 29, that's what the pick was going to be. But they both got taken, so I had to kind of shift my strategy. And in real life, if I had the opportunity to trade down, I would have traded down. But Jaden Higgins, I think, has a chance to be a real impact player for this team. I know what some Commanders fans might be saying, but Jack, we have Luke McCaffrey. I don't think Luke McCaffrey's all that good, guys. I had a 6th-round grade on him last year. He showed some good things last year, but I think he's more of a depth piece than a true starting piece. You have Noah Brown, who's okay. Deebo Samuel, who's more of a gadget-type player than a true, wide receiver 2 at this point in his career. I just think that the team was best served by getting the best possible receiver that was on the board at that time. And then, you could certainly add developmental corner. You can still build up your offensive line. Before we get into the second round here are some of ESPN's best available based on the picks that we made in the first round. Josh Simmons is still sitting here out of Ohio State. I think he's going to go a lot earlier than this, guys. His tape is awesome out of Ohio State. He's awesome, man. I really do think he's going to go earlier, and he's not going to fall to round 2, but you never know. Another Ohio State Buckeye here. 3 Ohio State Buckeyes here at the top of ESPN's best available. Emeka Egbuka, who I considered at 29, but I think Higgins' upside is a little bit higher, so that's why I went with him. Tyler Booker out of Bama. We'll see where he ends up going. I think he's going to go early. Here in the second round. Donovan Jackson, another really good guard out of Ohio State. Played some left tackle for them when Josh Simmons went down with an injury last year, actually. Played pretty decently. But now we are getting started with our second round here. So we'll see who the Cleveland Browns take at number 33. They took Travis Hunter. Shedeur Orleans went number 9, so they can't go him. Do they go quarterback here? They have Kenny Pickett and they have Joe Flacco. Do they take Jackson Dart, who is still available? Do they take Tyler Shuck, who's still available?
I don't think he's going quarterback.
We will see what Matthew Peterson does here to start this second round off here. Because I'm trying to think, because they address wide receiver and corner with the Travis Hunter selection.
Yes, they did.
So
2 birds with 1 stone.
So I'm trying to see here. What else could Cleveland use? They could certainly use running back. Could this be Travion Henderson?
Could be.
Could this be Cam Scatabo? They could use edge rusher help. I'll say that right now. So it could be edge rusher, maybe defensive interior, maybe offensive line, maybe running back. Let's see, man.
There we go.
All right, Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa. One of the top Steelers draft targets this year. Steelers really like him, but he goes to the Cleveland Browns at number Round number 2. Top of round 1. Then Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State, goes to the New York Football Giants to pair alongside Malik Neighbors.
I like that pick.
Don't hate that pick at all. I think that both of those guys are good players. I don't know if Egbuka's like a deep threat type of receiver, so
do you think it's possible?
I don't know if I love the fit between Egbuka and a Russell Wilson-led offense.
Do you think it's possible that Egbuka slips all the way to round 2?
It's possible. It definitely is. He's a very ready-made NFL prospect. He's going to be a number 2 receiver the second he steps into the NFL. The question around him is, does he have enough juice to, elevate himself from a wide receiver 2 to a legitimate wide receiver 1? And I think there's some questions of that. He reminds me a lot of Jackson Smith and Jigba from the Seattle Seahawks. Both of them went to Ohio State. Both of them, are good athletes, but, maybe they're not completely twitched up. They both have good ball skills. I'd say Jigba's a little bit better in that regard, but they're both great route runners, tough after the catch, great teammates. I think that he's a good player, man. So as long as you're drafting good players, if you're the New York Football Giants, that's a win for that franchise for sure. Wow. Tennessee Titans.
I like
Kyle
this pick.
Williams. All right. Chris Sims is number 2 receiver out of Washington State. Reminds me a lot of Deontay Johnson. Only I think he's even better as a deep threat than Deontay was for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really good route runner, separator. Really smart and savvy route runner against zone as well. Can feel the soft spots really well. Underrated ball skills, in my opinion. Really good after the catch. And you pair him up with Calvin Ridley, who's a speedster and a deep threat in his own right. And I think, you got Cam Ward in there, and Kyle Williams played with Cam Ward at Wazoo. So they got a little bit of chemistry already working.
I like that pick.
I don't hate that pick from our Titans host, Brad Elper. Not a bad pick whatsoever.
Jags is being simmed.
Jags is going to be a simulated pick here. They took Tyler Warren in round 1.
Good pick by the Jags.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this one just makes a lot of sense for a simulated pick. Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Now, Jacksonville doesn't necessarily need a tackle. They drafted Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma 2 years ago. He actually had a pretty decent season as their right tackle last year. And then they got Walker Little as their starting left tackle right now. Maybe they try and kick one of those guys into guard and they play Simmons at tackle, or maybe they try Simmons at guard. But this is just maybe a pick where Simmons is the best player available on their board. They're trying to rebuild with new head coach Liam Cohen. And, I don't hate the pick because of the caliber and the value of player you're getting here in Jacksonville. So pretty obvious simulated picks. I think if we had people making these picks, they probably don't go Tyler Warren and Josh Simmons. But hey, if that actually happens in real life, I don't think Jaguars fans would be too upset with that.
The whole 4 of them.
So could this be Travion Henderson here?
No, he went Genty.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He went Genty. So, what, corner?
Nickel.
Could be nickel. Going to take Amik Robertson here.
Is there a nickel out there that you'd like?
Not at this spot. Robert Parrish is a good player, or Jacob Parrish. Why do I keep thinking it's Robert Parrish?
Siobhan Revel?
Yeah.
Not a nickel, though.
Not a nickel, but they need outside cornerback help too, man. Just got rid of Jack Jones. They need help on the outside, man. We'll see what they do. You guys can see the best players available right now: Tyler Booker, Donovan Jackson, Siobhan Revel Jr., Travion Henderson. Again, we don't pick here until pick 61.
Right.
And then we don't pick again until pick 83.
83, yeah.
So we only have 2 more picks left in this entire mock. But it's definitely interesting to see what happens here. And the Raiders take Tyler Booker out of Alabama.
They need O-line help.
Yeah, I don't hate that. maybe they would prefer Donovan Jackson because he played for Chip Kelly last year. That's the only thing I'd say to that. But good player if they take Booker. I guess Chip Kelly didn't like Donovan Jackson too much. Or maybe he just loves Tyler Booker. But decent pick here. Okay, the next pick is in here with Allie Barefoot at number 38. I got to say, I'm liking the pick.
You like this pick?
I like this pick a lot.
Let's see what.
Oh yeah, Robert Locke said Robert Parrish is the Celtics legend.
Roe Parrish, yes.
The Roe Parrish.
That's funny.
I can't it's Jacob Parrish, Kansas State corner. I don't know why I keep thinking it's Robert because of the Celtics player probably. Trey Harris, wide receiver at Ole Miss, one of my favorite receivers in this entire class. Coop, deep threat, incredible contested catch numbers, especially down the field. Over 60% contested catch rate. Excellent numbers in that regard. I think he's an underrated route runner. He's underrated after the catch, and all you have to do is look at his production, man. Like, compare him to Matthew Golden out of Texas. He played in literally half the games Golden played in last year, and he had more yards, more receptions, and almost just as many touchdowns. From an efficiency standpoint, Trey Harris was the best wide receiver in college football in this class, bar none. All right? Like, there's certain things that he can't do as a route runner, but, like, he's a true X receiver, all right? Like, the New England Patriots are going to be asking him to do very specific things, and I think he's going to do it at a high level. And you got a guy in Drake May who throws one of the best deep balls that you're going to find anywhere on the planet. I mean, this is going to be an awesome duo for the New England Patriots. And then you got Will Campbell protecting for him, who he took at number 4. I think this is a phenomenal mock draft that's turning up for the New England Patriots.
Good start to the rebuild by New England.
Good start to the offensive rebuild for sure from Allie Barefoot. The pick is in as well for the Chicago Bears and Harrison Graham at number 39 overall. Start filling in some of these picks here.
Yeah, let's go. There it is. Josh Connerly.
Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle out of Oregon. Now they have what's the guy's name that they have as their left tackle? The name escapes me. Why am I blanking on the Bears? Braxton Jones. That's what it is. Braxton Jones, pretty good player, but obviously Ben Johnson prioritizes building the trenches, so maybe they feel like Connerly has more upside long term. So I don't necessarily hate that. Trey Harris off the board. So right now, just looking at some edge rushers for this next pick for the Commanders, Nick Scorton, I don't think he's I don't think he's a designated pass rusher right away. Landon Jackson, I feel the same way. I like Princely Omamielen out of Ole Miss. I like Oluwafemi Oladejo, who the Commanders have shown a lot of interest in. Josiah Stewart out of Michigan, someone that I like.
Trey stays local.
Trizzy Trace, Saints Now host, takes, stays local here. LSU tight end Mason Taylor. Good receiver. Moves, you can tell that, the NFL bloodlines that he comes from. Jason Taylor's kid, I believe. Was that right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
Joy Taylor's his aunt?
Yep. But he's a good player. The Saints have shown a lot of interest in him, so that makes a lot of sense for the New Orleans Saints for sure. So they took Connerly. Mason Taylor comes off the board. And now we're back with the Chicago Bears at 41, just 2 picks after they take Connerly. And they're going to take a running back here, Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State. I like this pick for them. Obviously, they really prioritize the run game and Ben Johnson kind of style offenses. Got DeAndre Swift, who they ran out of town in Detroit, so running back's important for them. Quinshon is a bigger back with good vision, good acceleration, and good long speed. I think he's got a really high floor, and I think he's got the capability to be their number 1 running back day 1 there in Chicago. So I like that pick right there for Chicago for sure. And then we got T.J. Sanders, defensive tackle out of South Carolina to the New York Jets. That is a simulated pick, by the way. TJ is more of a true pass rusher type of player. He's got some great quickness and some really good get-off the snap. But I think that his finesse rushing needs to get better, his hand placement. And honestly, play strength isn't phenomenal with him. But you got Quinnen Williams there in New York, and you pair him up here with T.J. Sanders. So don't hate the pick, but
that's a good DT duo.
Yeah, pretty good, especially when it comes to attacking pass rushers. Now we get to San Francisco's pick at 43. You took Jalen Walker with your first pick, edge rusher. Now, here's the thing. San Francisco plays a 4-3. Jalen Walker, where are you going to put him? Like, he's not big enough to take on blocks on early downs.
Outside linebacker.
And if you're putting him an outside linebacker, good luck putting him in a 4-3, especially the type of system they like to run, where they like to run a lot of wide 9, which puts a lot of responsibility on the outside linebackers. He is not ready for that role, man. So honestly, Jalen Walker to the San Francisco 49ers might be my least favorite pick in this entire mock.
I love this pick from Jake Chipper.
All right, let's see if this pick's better than his first one. With all due respect to Chip.
You basically told Chip to go F
Chip,
himself.
you brought this on, man.
Chip, you brought this on. I'm tired of your bull,
All right,
Chip.
here at 43, Jake Chipper has made his selection. It is Maxwell Harrison, cornerback out of Kentucky. And I really like Harrison, man. Apparently he was an undersized corner in terms of bulk there at Kentucky. And he gave up a lot of yardage in the SEC last year, but like he has some really, really fun tools. Long arms, can play the ball well, great recovery speed, ran the fastest 40 at the combine this year, 4.28. And he bulked up to, like, I think I saw 192 pounds after playing much less than that. I think he weighed in almost 10 pounds less than that at the combine. So he's been gaining a lot of weight during this process, getting ready for the NFL. And this is around the area where I would be around comfortable taking him. And I think that corner is certainly a position San Francisco needs to address. And you pair him up with Renardo Green, who had a really good rookie season. And of course, you got Lenoir there. I think that's a good pick for San Francisco for sure. Am I missing somebody in San Francisco secondary? I don't think I am.
No, Ward left.
Yeah, it's Lenoir.
Not Lance Lenoir, Diamador.
Yeah, Diamador Lenoir, yeah.
Lance Lenoir, former Cowboys receiver.
But yeah, like you got Lenoir and you got Green. They need another corner to add to that group, and Harrison's a really, really good player there. Dallas Cowboys here. Coop, you're a Cowboys fan.
Yes.
Or kind of a Cowboys
fan.
Sort of. You're Are you approaching this status with the Mavs fandom too, or is it more?
Not quite, but close.
Yeah, you'll be able to admit that both these franchises are jokes.
Oh, they're embarrassing. Yeah. Absolutely.
So they take Tet in round 1. Where else do you think they need to go get here?
They could use an edge rusher to replace DeMarcus Lawrence, even though they brought back Dante Fowler.
True.
Wouldn't hate that. Wouldn't hate going along the offensive line here as well. I think they could kind of just go best player available if they so chose. Wouldn't hate a running back. I think they could. The world is kind of their oyster here.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. Oh, here we go.
Yep. Just as I suspected.
Taking another skill position player here with Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. Now, I think Henderson has the ability to be like one of the best running backs in football, but he's got a big weakness, which is that his vision stinks. Mm-hmm. All right? So he does not pick the right lane to run through consistently, especially on like outside zone where you're got to be looking for cutback lanes and all that different stuff. I think, in a system where you run a lot of inside zone or duo or gap and power, stuff that, where vision is still important but less important than outside zone, I think he can be a really good player. He's a smaller back that plays like a bigger back. So he likes to try to run people over. He likes to stiff arm. He's not really a shifty back, but he is extremely fast. His acceleration is world class.
But he's not an every down back, right? Because there's the reason Ohio State brought in Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah, Ohio State brought in Judkins, and he got most of the workload. So there's questions as to whether or not Henderson can be a legitimate number one back in the league, because he didn't do it in college. But, like, he has some explosive-ass plays on film, man. So, I think that the stamina is a question mark with him. I think vision is a big question mark with him. But he's probably the best pass-protecting running back in this class. He's a good plus receiving back out of the backfield as well. So I think that day one, he is like an elite third down back because of his ability to protect the passer and catch footballs, be kind of a big-time playmaker that can pick up a third and long, if he gets a check down in the flat. Nick Scorton here, edge rusher out of Texas A&M, comes off the board at number 45 to the Indianapolis Colts. Simulated pick there, so they take Jihad Campbell and Nick Scorton. Honestly, those are two kind of boring picks. But
beefing up the defense.
I mean, you're beefing up the defense. I can't necessarily disagree with it. What I will disagree with here with this pick is Scorton is kind of similar to Kwity Paye.
Kwity Paye's more inside, though, no? No?
Paye is like a
true edge?
True early down run defending edge. Then they got Ebukam there too, don't they? Still?
Yeah, they do.
Pretty sure they still have Samson Ebukam and they still have Leatu Latu. That pick makes no sense.
Shout out to the simulator.
Shout out to the simulator that doesn't know what the fuck it's doing. All right, the pick is in. Pick number 46. Our sources are saying it's JT Tuimulau out of Ohio State. So another guy here where he's a really good run defender. Might be the best, one of the best at least, run defending edges in the class.
The thing about JTT is he was the number one overall recruit in his class. And he didn't really live up to the hype at Ohio State.
Yeah, he didn't, especially as a pass rusher. I think he's a phenomenal run defender. And then you got Alec Ayamainer here going to the Cardinals. They took Donovan Ezeraku in round one, and they take Ayamainer, one of my favorite receivers in this class at 47. I think Ayamainer's an awesome player, man. I think that big body. He's one of the only receivers that I've seen dominate Travis Hunter in a football game, which was from 2 years ago when Stanford played Colorado. He's a really good player, man. He's fluid in his routes as well.
Does he have speed?
Ran a 4.4.
All right.
He's impressive, man. Like, I think Jaden Higgins is slightly better than him, but he's not far off. Like, Ayamainer is.
Would you be surprised if he went higher than this?
No. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like one of the first 5 picks in the second round. Like, I really, really think Alec Ayamainer's a good player. Reminds me a little bit of young Keenan Allen with good size, really good route running ability, physical.
Is he JJ Arcega-Whiteside, but not terrible?
No. Every big receiver out of Stanford is JJ Arcega-Whiteside. Whiteside couldn't run. Ayamainer's big, physical, good route runner, good at the catch point.
And he played on a horrible team.
Yeah, had no quarterback play. So, big fan of Ayamainer, man. I think he's going to have a much better pro career. You pair him up, too, with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm loving that wide receiver room there in Arizona. And we know Kyler can throw the deep ball now. All right? Like, Ayamainer is going to be the guy to go up and get it. Marv is going to be their route running technician. And that's going to be a great wide receiver duo for a long time if that ends up happening. Nick Roloff and the Miami Dolphins are back on the clock here at number 48. So they went corner in round one. So now you probably got to go tackle with Teron Armstead retiring.
And he does.
Yes, he does. Well, technically he does. Donovan Jackson played left tackle for Ohio State when they won the national championship down the stretch. But he's known more as a guard prospect. And, it'd be interesting to see where they put him if they draft him because they do need help on the interior of the offensive line. There's no doubt about that. But, because Jackson does have some of that versatility where he, played pretty well at left tackle for them down the stretch last year, if you need him to play left tackle in a pinch, I think that is certainly something that they can consider. So what were the last several picks? Your 49ers took who? Scorden? No.
Here, we can scroll back here.
Oh, no, they took Harrison.
49ers took Harrison.
Then you had Travion Henderson to the Cowboys. Then you had Tyler. Wait, no. Who was after Cowboys?
Nick
Colts. Nick Scorden. Just trying to keep up with my simulator here so I know who's on the board. Because we're coming up here on the Commanders pick at 61 here pretty soon.
Oh, do you have the PFF one open?
Yeah. So these are the last few picks here. So Atlanta took JT.
Tyleik Williams goes to the Bengals at 49.
I don't hate that at all for them. I actually kind of like that quite a bit. So 46. Who'd Atlanta take? Oh, JT.
Yeah, Atlanta took JT. Then A. Maynor, Donovan Jackson.
Then you have A. Maynor, Donovan Jackson. Where is Jackson here? Donovan Jackson. And then Tyleik Williams.
A lot of Ohio State guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, lots of good players, obviously. They're national championship football team. Now you got Tyler Jones on the clock. 2 picks here. I kind of think he's going to go offensive line both times.
You think both of them?
Because they need help at interior line, man. And well, I think for sure one of these picks is going to be Tate Ratledge out of Georgia. It wouldn't surprise me if he takes like Wyatt Milam here or something like that.
That'd be a solid pick.
So for the Commanders here, who are some of our options? Kevin Winston Jr. still on the board. I might have to take him.
This is a good pick for Tyler Jones.
This is a good pick for Tyler Jones?
I think so.
Okay. I haven't looked at it.
Tyler Jones.
Still some really good players left on the board, man. Still some really good players left on the board. F Sam.
F Sam. F Sam. F Sam. F Sam. F Sam. F Sam. Hey.
Hey. Come on, Tyler Jones. What do you got?
Tyler Jones.
What do you got, man? So we got Tyler Jones at 50, Matthew Peterson with the Broncos at 51, who took Omari and Hampton.
Right back to Tyler Jones.
Number 21, or number 20, and then right back to Tyler Jones at 52.
Software taking a little time to load, so I'll just tell you who Tyler Jones took here at 50.
All right, sources say
Tate Ratledge.
Tate Ratledge, and that's what I thought. That's the smart pick here. They got to go interior offensive line. They need someone that can play right away. Ratledge did some really good stuff there at Georgia. Just makes too much sense for them. I think, just to shift back to the Aaron Rodgers thing for just a second here, Coop, probably the most intriguing quote of the day during that McAfee interview was when they asked him about what the timetable looks like and if he has to have any more conversations. And he said, and how much he thinks about the football decision. He says it's a small percentage because the conversations have been had. There's no more contemplation. So that means that would assume that he's already done all his research.
He's done all his research, yes.
He's not actively looking for a different situation like Colin Cowherd has speculated or that Diana Rossini has speculated or all these people that just have no fucking clue what he's going to do. And he called him out for that a little bit today.
He absolutely did. And look, it sounds like he's not close to making a decision, but he does have all the information available to him.
Yeah, listen, man, my takeaway from it is he's not waiting for the draft, which was my theory yesterday. But I'm glad that we had the opportunity to hear from him directly today because, like he said, he's been quiet for a while. So the fact that he got to, share his side, share his thinking and his process right now, I think the big information we got today is that at least, Aaron claims that they are dealing with, that he's dealing with personal issues with somebody close with him in his life, where it requires a lot of his attention. He didn't dive into what those personal issues are because they're personal issues.
Nor does he have to.
All right? And, I think I've seen some people already speculate, oh, he's just a pussy that doesn't want to be at OTAs. I think that is a gross, step that's too far. All right? We don't know what's going on in his life, and it sounds like he's going to be a Steeler, but he doesn't want to make the full commitment to a season unless,
He did not close the door on retirement either.
Yeah, and, maybe it's the case that, these personal issues continue to drag on, and it gets to a point where, he's still not ready to make a decision because those things are still ongoing.
Absolutely.
And he's like, you know what? It's getting to a point where, I got to make a decision, and I'm not ready to make a decision, so I'm going to retire. Maybe that's the way that things conclude. But with the way he talked about Mike Tomlin, said he exceeded his expectations, all right? Then he talked about Arthur Smith and his great relationship with him. Then he talked about the QB coach relationship with Tom Arth. Then he talked about throwing with DK Metcalf. All right, this just seems like something that's going to happen. It's just a matter of when Aaron feels like he's ready to make that commitment and put all of his energy to being the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback, which is not right now because he has other personal shit he has to take care of before he's ready to make that commitment. So just to recap with the last couple picks here, Tate Ratledge, guard out of Georgia. Actually, he takes both of the interior Georgia Bulldog offensive linemen here. Jared Wilson, the center as well, goes to Seattle at 52. And then Petey with the Broncos took Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. Good receiving threat at tight end.
This is a good simulated pick by Tampa Bay.
Yeah, simulated pick. Really, one of my Sperry psychos this year, Darius Alexander out of Toledo, had a phenomenal Senior Bowl week. I think he can play nose tackle. I think he can play 3 technique, and I think he's got the quickness to play 5 technique if you really want him to. Bigger body, maybe not a hulking presence like Kenneth Grant, but very strong, good run defender. Tampa, good pick right there at number 53. Landon Jackson, the edge rusher from Arkansas, big body. Lots of upside with him. He's an athletic freak. Going to the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay certainly likes their athletic freaks at edge rusher. So don't hate that pick at all. Then Jack Besh. Interesting choice here for Los Angeles because great run blocker. Harbaugh I think this is a good pick for LA because Harbaugh loves him some run blockers at wide receiver, and Jack Besh can do that shit.
No block, no rock.
No block, no rock. At Roman Wilson right there. But Besh is a good route runner, actually, underrated route runner. Really good foot speed, even though his change of direction ability isn't necessarily the smoothest in the world, but foot speed's really good, can stop and start really, really quickly. Super reliable hands, never drops the ball. Good after the catch, super physical after the catch. I think that's a good pick right there for the Los Angeles Chargers. Now we got Steelers Smitty back on the board here at number 56. And I've got a player right now that I really want to take for the Washington Commanders.
We got about a 3-minute break here, so Steelers Smitty will be on the clock soon.
Okay, so we got a 3-minute break. So, Coop, what % chance at this point would you put on Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers? I put it at this classic Sperry, but I'm putting it at 90%.
I don't think it's 90.
You think retirement has a higher percentage? Because it sounds like those are the only two options.
I don't know if it's a higher percentage, but I think it's closer to 50-50. I'd probably say 60-40.
Well, what evidence is there that he's really going to retire?
He said he's not leaving it. He's not closing the door on retiring.
Well, okay, but not closing the door on it is not the same as it has just as high of a chance of him playing. He told the Jets he wants to play this year. He's had extensive conversations with the Steelers. He's been working out all offseason.
Aaron did clarify. He told the Jets he'd be interested in playing.
That means he wants to play.
I don't know.
That means he wants to play, dude.
He also said that, he had his meetings with the Steelers. And while they went well, they clearly didn't come to a resolution.
Because of the personal shit he's going on. So it's not that he didn't sign with them because he didn't like them or that he's waiting for a better opportunity or listen, man, I'm not saying that the chances of retirement are zero, but I do think that the chances that he picks Pittsburgh is a lot more because it does seem like he wants to play.
I don't know if we addressed this one yet.
Okay, Gary, $2 says if Rodgers is signing, don't draft a QB until 7th round. I hate to break it to you, Gary Frank. I think they're going to take a quarterback in round 3 or round 4, even if they get Rodgers. I don't necessarily disagree.
We know who you're taking at 81 if he's there.
83.
83.
Maybe.
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 Are you taking Kyle McCord instead?
Maybe.
No way.
No, I probably won't take McCord in round 3. But, yeah, Gary, I don't necessarily disagree. Get players that can help you win now if you're going to really commit to the win now kind of angle. But, I mean, the Steelers have done a lot of research into this quarterback class, and I've heard word that they like somebody that they're willing to take in round 3. Round 2, pick number 56 from my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Xavier Watts going to the Buffalo Bills. Good pick from Steeler Smitty here, man. He's a good kind of ball hawking type of safety. Really good locker room presence as well. So Steeler Smitty taking a couple of good secondary players.
I like that.
Trey Amos and then Xavier Watts. I like that. I like those two players. We're going to have to
start calling him Buffalo Smitty?
Buffalo Smith. Here we go. Now we get a simulated pick, Carolina Panthers at 57. Siobhan Revel Jr. So like this pick. Now, they have J.C. Horn. And then who's their number 2 corner right now?
It was Dante 2 years ago.
They got rid of his ass. They've got Mike Jackson. And then Shao Smith-Wade.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. So, Siobhan, they do need corner. Revel is somebody that, Carolina's probably not expecting to be like playoff Super Bowl contender next year. Maybe they want to like compete for a playoff spot, but I don't think they're expecting to win a Super Bowl. Siobhan Revel Jr., he's got some question marks, ACL injury, lower level of competition, but man, he is twitched up. He's got great measurables. And I think he has a chance to be a really, really good player. So we're coming up here on our pick pretty soon here, Coop, for the Commanders at 61. And I got a player.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking right now safety.
Leaning safety.
Right now, I think you can make an argument Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State's the best safety in this class outside of Malachi Starks. He's still available.
What about Azariah Thomas?
Runs a 4.6. Get out of here.
Oh, I didn't know.
Press man corner running a 4.6. I think the only person I can even think of that has had success as a press man corner running that slow is Josh Norman. And he had incredible anticipatory and mental processing ability. Like, insane. So ESPN's best available right now, Ariante Ursary.
That's your guy.
Out of Minnesota. Go Ghosts. Row the boat. Joe Sperry currently pitching for the baseball team there in Minnesota. Jonah Savanaia, probably saying that way wrong, but
I think you're pretty close.
The guard out of Arizona, really good player. Carson Swessinger, love him out of UCLA. Azariah Thomas, cornerback.
Is that how we're saying it?
That's how it's pronounced. It looks like Azariah, but it's Azariah. Jackson Dart still available here in round 2.
Oh, there's a guy I love.
And then you got Alfred Collins. But Collins. Alfred, I mean, whoever gets Alfred.
Would he fit the Commanders?
Yeah. No, because they spent money on Javon Kinlaw, and then they still have Deron Payne and Johnny Newton. So, no. If he falls to the Steelers at 83, I might have to. No, I already took Derek Harmon. But he's going to be long gone by the time we get to 83.
Ursary off the board.
Houston Texans take Ariante Ursary. Very, very good physical traits from Ursary. Now, he's still a bit raw on film. So he's, Houston's a team that's trying to win now with C.J. Stroud. I don't think Ursary starts week 1 is what I'll say. I think that they'll probably have Cam Robinson or Trent Brown, whoever wins that battle for left tackle. They're just going to play the 5 best offensive linemen they have this season. So we'll see if Ursary gets in that mix, but he certainly has the physical capabilities to be a franchise left tackle of the future for them. Then Joey the Mouth Peterson, takes Jonah Savanaia, guard from Arizona. Love his tape, man. Incredible anchor. You're not bull rushing this cat, all right? Incredible anchor. And Baltimore had a pretty good offensive line last year, Coop. Obviously, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson dominated the league, but this is somebody that can upgrade that interior offensive line for them this year. Then we get an edge rusher here at number 60, and that is Braden Swinson, edge rusher out of LSU. Very productive edge rusher out of LSU.
And now we are on the clock.
And this one is a no-brainer to me. Couldn't have got that in any faster. Can we recap some of the last few picks here before I make this selection here? Starting with Seattle at 50. So they took Tate, then they took Elijah Arroyo, tight end out of Miami. Seattle with their second rounder took Jared Wilson. Then who'd Tampa Bay take? Darius Alexander, Landon Jackson, Jack Besh, Xavier Watts. And then after that, we're good with my pick right now?
And then with the 61st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select
Kevin Winston Jr., my number 2 safety in this entire NFL draft class, falls to the Commanders here in round 2. And I love Winston's game, man, because he can play anywhere. He's a phenomenal run defender, can play in the box if he need to, which is what the Commanders have probably asked of him year 1. But he's also an excellent coverage player, so super versatile in that way. Can even play in the nickel if you really need him to. Dealt with an injury last year, which he's going to have to work through, and it's the reason why he's sitting here at 61 instead of going in round 1, because just looking at the tape from 2023 from this guy, man, he would have been one of the best safeties, one of the best players in last year's NFL draft. This guy's an awesome player. He's going to be a day 1 starter in this defense, and, he's going to make this defense better from day 1. So I love, love, love what he brings to the table athletically, what he brings to the table technically speaking, from a versatility standpoint. Whatever your defense needs him to do, he's going to be able to do it. So adding your Swiss Army knife here, that's going to specialize as your starting strong safety. Grade the pick for me down there in the comment section. By the way, Pro Football Focus has Kevin Winston Jr. ranked as the 29th overall prospect. We got him at number 61 overall. I am thrilled with this pick here for the Burgundy and Gold. So give me a A, a B, a C, a D, or an F down there in the comment section. Commanders fans, appreciate your guys' support, sticking with us here throughout this mock draft. This is the last pick that we're making because we can't trade up into the 3rd round. So you get Jaden Higgins, who I think has the potential to be a number 1 receiver in this league, to pair with Terry McLaurin, and you get my second favorite safety in this entire class in round 2 in Kevin Winston Jr. To me, that's a hell of a draft, and I still think that there's still going to be some wiggle room with the edge rushers. There's still going to be some good edge rushers available in round 4 to take if you're the Washington Commanders. So I really like these 2 picks. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. 65 Sec here says, Jack, are you a Commanders fan? Didn't know you hosted the Chat Sports Washington section. So, Rez, I cover both teams for Chat Sports, all right? And that's not necessarily, that's not abnormal here at Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson covers 3 teams, the Browns, the Broncos, and the Falcons. Chase Sr. covers both the 49ers and the Eagles.
Tyler Jones
covers the Chiefs and the Seahawks. There's a lot of different, there's a lot of teams, all right? We got limited people here. So to cover our bases and to cover, as many NFL teams as possible, most hosts have 2 teams that they cover. So I cover the Steelers and I cover the Commanders. And I definitely appreciate both fan bases, man. I love the passion that Steelers and Commanders fans bring to the table every single day. And I appreciate all of you guys watching today's show. Appreciate the $65 super chat from you, Rez. $5 from Eric Patterson. Says Aaron Rodgers ain't worried about playing football anymore. He is clearly more worried about his people. He said draft picks don't matter. Get a good QB. Yeah, man. I definitely agree with the sentiment that, what Rodgers wants, and he said this very clearly, committing to an NFL team, signing a contract is a big commitment. Right now, he is dealing, at least he claims he is dealing with some very important personal stuff that he's, that requires his attention. I will say, given his throwing session with DK, given all the conversations that he's had with Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, Arthur Smith, Tom Arth, the quarterback's coach, it seems like everything's positive. And it seems like the Steelers feel like that he is going to eventually sign on the dotted line. Certainly the impression that I'm getting at this point. So right now I think there's a pretty darn good chance Rodgers is the Steelers' starting quarterback next year. But I do think the Steelers will take a quarterback sometime in the middle rounds of the NFL draft this year. So here we go, some good picks here. After we took Winston at 61 for the Commanders, Alfred Collins. Steelers Smitty is killing this draft for the Buffalo Bills. Getting Alfred Collins, my favorite true nose tackle in this class. He is such a good two-gapper, man.
Great pick.
His ability to take on double teams and fill 2 gaps at one time. It's better than Kenneth Grant. It's better than any other nose tackle in this class. Kenneth Grant is actually more of a true pass rusher at 340 pounds than a run defender. He's fine against the run, don't get me wrong, but Collins, in my opinion, is the true dominant force in this class at the position. Then Jalen Noel, who I think is going to be a great player. What a pick by Kansas City. You pair him up with Rashee Rice, with Xavier Worthy.
Are you joking?
In my opinion, if this happens, shame on the National Football League for letting Jalen Noel make it to the Kansas City Chiefs in round 2. Shame on them, because he's going to be a damn good player. And you pair him up with Mahomes and Andy Reid and all the guys they got there in Kansas City, I think he's going to be an awesome player for him. $20 super chat from my man Justin. Appreciate you, my man. Says Steelers must find a way to get back in the second round.
1-1.
I'm cool with using all 7 picks to only take 4 quality high upside guys, as long as we get nose tackle, defensive tackle, running back, a DB, offensive line, or quarterback. Do you agree with 7 for 4? If so, what positions? Listen, man, my impression of what the Steelers want to do in the early rounds. First round, I think that they're going to go defensive tackle or maybe running back. All right? Keep your eye on Derek Harmon, Travion Henderson, Omarion Hampton. Maybe they go, a different position too, but I really think those are the 2 favorites. Then in round 3 or 4, they're going to take whatever position they take in round 1, and they're probably going to get a quarterback. All right? So I think that that's the way that they're kind of feeling about it right now. I think the Steelers would love to trade down from 21, get an extra pick, maybe maybe even get a second round pick in that deal. But yeah, I think that they've got certain positions that they need to address. Obviously, right? Defensive tackle is going to be one that they're going to take at some point. Running back is going to be a position they take at some point. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback in round 1. I really do believe that Rodgers has pretty much made up his decision. He's going to play for the Steelers if he plays this year, and they think he's going to play. So, I don't think they're going to spend a first-round pick on a player that doesn't help them win this year. So I think that they will take a quarterback in the middle round, someone like a Kyle McCord, Jalen Milroe, if Tyler Shuck falls to you in round 3. That could happen. But then you can also look at defensive back, like you said, safety. You need to add either another nickel defender or another safety to this defense. You could think about outside cornerback as a developmental piece. You could think about wide receiver as a depth piece. There's a lot of different things you can consider if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I do think first 3 selections, most likely the combination is going to be defensive tackle, running back, and quarterback. All right, so that's kind of the general vibe I'm getting from the Steelers right now, Justin. All right, best available, Carson Schlesinger, still available, linebacker out of UCLA. Azarie Thomas, the super slow but very technically refined press man corner out of Florida State.
So basically, in Thomas's case, he needs to be more or less Josh Norman to work.
Yes.
Yikes.
Unless he does what Rasul Douglas did, because Rasul Douglas was a slower kind of press man corner in college, but then he transitioned after he was terrible doing that in the league. He went to the Buffalo Bills, who run a lot of off zone, and said, "You're going to run off zone." And he developed into a good starting corner. So, if Azarie Thomas goes to a team that plays a lot of off zone and says, "You are going to be this type of corner and you're going to develop in our system," he could be like a Rasul Douglas type of player. But, he's so used to playing press coverage because that's pretty much all they run at Florida State. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough to survive in the league with a 4-6 press man corner. But Benjamin Morrison's still there. Jackson Dart looks like he's going to make it to round 3 here. Shadorlands went number 9, but Jackson Dart is still here. By the way, we finished up round 2 with Anthony Belton, offensive lineman out of NC State, going to the Philadelphia Eagles.
If it's Shuck and Jackson Dart at 83.
At 83?
Yep.
Listen, man, it's a good question because on the one hand, I think Shuck is the better player right now. All right. Plus, I think he has a stronger arm. I think that he has more touch on his deep ball. I think he might be the better overall fit for what the Steelers want to do. But I don't think Dart's a terrible fit for what the Steelers want to do offensively. And I think, and then also the age plays a big factor in this, because if you're going to have Aaron Rodgers, and I'm doing this mock draft today, guys, with the assumption that Rodgers is eventually going to sign with the Steelers. If Rodgers is there, and then you got Mason Rudolph, like it makes more sense to draft a younger quarterback. Coop, don't tell anybody. Shh.
No way.
Because he's young. And he's got the huge upside, and I don't have to play him for at least a year.
Probably 2.
Maybe 2, but I might do the upside play there. Because Jackson Dart, in my opinion, I think he's got limited upside, and I think that Tyler Shuck's upside might be a little bit higher than Jackson Dart's.
You think his upside's higher too?
Yeah, because stronger arm. I think he's got more, he's got a more flexible arm, too, with his ability to throw sidearm and off-platform. I think he's got a better deep ball. Dart's deep ball can be a bit flat at times. So, if I'm going to be taking a quarterback to develop behind Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to take the guy with the highest upside. And Jalen Milroe has superstar upside. Legitimate superstar upside. So, if I'm going to take a swing on somebody, he's there in round 3. That's probably the pick I'm going to make. If not, I'm probably going to take a running back in round 3 if Milroe's not there.
Third round begins.
Here we got a couple picks already. A couple interior defensive linemen. Omar Norman Lott, very splashy, powerful defensive tackle. Pass rushing specialist out of Tennessee. Joshua Farmer, defensive tackle out of Florida State, going to Kansas City at 66.
Who do you think's the better player there?
I'd probably say Norman Lott, because I was first introduced to Norman Lott when I was watching James Pierce Jr. film.
Yeah.
Early in the process.
You were just like, whoa, who's that
and
guy?
I was like, who's this guy that's flashing on this tape? You could even argue more than James Pierce was, even though James is a really good player in his own right. Norman Lott, especially next to, because he's a little bit undersized, putting him next to the behemoth of Dexter Lawrence, it's the perfect match. And then you have Abdul Carter. That is an insane pass rush that the New York Football Giants would have in that case. Joshua Farmer, in my opinion, is a fine player. And I think that Kansas City needs help alongside Chris Jones. You don't need a super flashy player. You just need a competent player, and I think you're getting that with Joshua Farmer there with Kansas City. All right. So
this will be one of your favorite picks.
From Cleveland?
Yep.
Is it Tyler Shuck?
Nope.
One of my favorite picks.
Yep.
Why is that?
You'll see. We'll show the super chat first.
$2 from JTC. Says Dart is younger, can learn from Rodgers. How old is Jalen Milroe?
Milroe's 21.
Because I know he came out a little bit earlier than people were expecting. He's 22.
22, so he's a fourth-year junior.
So December 13th is his birthday. Jackson Dart. And it's not like the difference is going to be that much. Jackson Dart's 21. So he's actually really young. So listen, man, it's a 1-year difference. It doesn't really matter to me, if I'm being completely honest with you. 22 years old is not an old quarterback.
I do think the age thing with Tyler Shuck is a little bit overrated because, especially at QB, you can play well into your 30s.
Yeah, I think that the way that the age thing kind of plays a part is that he gets a shorter time frame to prove himself.
Sure.
If you're 21 or 22 and you draft a guy relatively early, you can give him 2 to 3 years to develop.
If you're 26, you better do it.
If you're 26, you better be fucking good immediately. So
here's the pick for Cleveland.
From Cleveland, Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. Good pick from Petey here. Now, it's confusing to me because they already have Martin Emerson. They have Greg Newsome. They have Denzel Ward. And now you add Travis Hunter. And now you have Benjamin Morrison. You got 5 players that probably are expecting to be starters this year.
Well, maybe you're banking on Travis Hunter not playing all of the snaps.
I mean, maybe, but try telling Travis that.
Yeah.
He's convinced he's going to play both ways in the league. And, you can't tell him otherwise is what I think is the exact quote. So, I love the player. I'm not sure if it makes a whole lot of sense if you draft Travis Hunter. Then Raiders take Carson Schlesinger. They need linebacker help bad. This is a great pick from Mitchell Renz in the Raiders report right there. Great pick.
The Titans waived Nicholas Petit-Frere.
He fucking stinks.
Is he bad?
Dude, his PFF grades, look him up right now. So they're like in the 40s. They are so bad. Listen, man. Jackson. Oh. And here it is. And, of course, it's this number pick. 69. All right, we got a very fun pick to break down here. Just a second. I got to say, I like this pick a lot. And I'm liking what Patriots Today host Allie Barefoot's putting together here.
Oh, my God. His PFF grades are so bad.
I know. It's all red. It's all red. So bad. By the way, guys, these next 2 picks here. Cam Scatabo coming off the board to the New England Patriots at number 69. And then Xavier Restrepo, receiver out of Miami, the super slow receiver. He made kind of like an excuse. He was like, I injured myself in warm-ups or whatever the excuse was, and then he still ran his 40, and it was like, what was it, 4.9?
Yeah.
Something like that. It was something crazy slow. But he's a good football player on tape, man. Like, shifty as hell, great foot speed. I don't think he's going to be a special player, but I think...
Is he a slot?
Yeah, no question. Not fast enough to play on the outside. Slot only. But Brian Thomas Jr. is outside threat there in Jacksonville. But I don't really love this pick for Jacksonville, honestly, because you have Christian Kirk who plays the slot. So, really bad pick for Jacksonville, in my opinion. Again, that's a simulated pick. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming up here, ladies and gentlemen, at number 83. And
we know who we're going with.
We have Jalen Milroe's name on the card.
No way.
And if he's there, I think I'm going to take
You're
him.
taking Milroe over Shuck.
Yeah.
After all of your...
That will be the shock of this
draft.
draft.
After all of your D-riding on Shuck.
That will be the
shock
of the draft. If Shuck and Milroe are still there and I take Milroe. Because listen, man, if you're looking for a starter right away, I would 100% take Shuck. I'd take Shuck over Sanders and Dart. I think that Shuck is, outside of Cam Ward, the most ready to start an NFL game right now if the Steelers need somebody to play for them. But it sounds like Aaron Rodgers has already made his decision to play for the Steelers. It's just a matter of finalizing some personal issues, and then he's going to sign on the dotted line. So in that case, you're looking for a developmental guy. And if I'm going to look for a developmental guy, I'm looking for somebody that has the highest upside. And to me, that is Jalen Milroe. Because the last thing I want is for Rodgers to be here 1 or 2 years and Shuck is sitting behind him. And, if he's the heir apparent, he's starting his first NFL game at 28.
27. I think he turns.
No, it would be 28 because he turns 26 in September. So that means
you're saying if
2 Septembers if Rodgers plays 2 years here, he'd be 28. So, if he's going to play right away, I'm all for taking Shuck. If he's not going to play right away, I'm getting Milroe. All right. Jalen Royals, speaking of slot receivers, a little bit of a slot receiver kind of
never trust an Aggie
here. Can we go back to pick 57? I want to fill out my my tracker here. So Carolina at 57. Who did they take? So they took Siobhan Revel. And then if Milroe gets taken here, I'm probably just going to take a running back and take a quarterback in round 4.
We don't have a round 4.
I know. But I'm just saying in this scenario, I would wait till round 4 to take one.
No way. You are taking Shuck.
No, I'm not. I'm not, no matter what.
No matter what.
No matter what.
You're
I told you I was gonna surprise you today, man. All right, so Ariante Ursary. Jonah Savanaya.
Swinson.
Where is he? Listed as a tackle on PFF? He is. That's weird. Swinson. Mike Kevin Winston. Alfred Collins. No. Then you got Jalen Knoll. Then you have Anthony Belton, who I think is listed as a tackle. Then Omar.
Oh, great pick, Graham.
DT. Joshua Farmer. LOL. Joshua Farmer's listed as the 138th ranked prospect, and Tyler Jones took him at 66. Could have got him in round 4, Teach. Benjamin Morrison, probably just BPA right there. Carson Schlesinger out of UCLA. Cam Scatteraboo out of Arizona State. That's still an electric pick. I'm kind of liking what the Patriots are doing. Cam Scatteraboo, Trey Harris, and Will Campbell. That's a fun new offense.
It's a great draft for fun.
That is a fun offense right there, man. Jalen Royals at wide receiver. Ooh, and then you got Andrew Makuba. I love Makuba, man. Makuba's so fun. He's going to play in the slot or free safety. Probably play safety for them, right? And then the Jets take Azarie. Have fun with him. And then you have San Francisco, and then you have Princely Umanmielen out of Carolina. Shoot, I was kind of hoping he would fall to the Commanders in round 4. But for the Commanders people still watching right now, you got some really good pass rushers still available that they could consider in round 4. Oluwafemi Oladejo is still here. Josiah Stewart is still here. You've still got David Walker out of Central Arkansas, who I love. Quay Robinson out of Alabama, who I think could be really good. There's still some really good edge rushers that they would probably take in round 4 at that point. So right now, come on now, Chip.
Come on now, Chip. Oh, 2-minute break.
Oh, 2-minute break. What'd you do today, Walker?
I went to the war medals off the bridge.
I threw Grandpa Chip's war medals off a bridge. Unbelievable scene, by the way. Unbelievable. Talk about your iconic comedy scenes. That one's got to be right up there, man.
Right
Talladega Nights. With the bountiful feast of KFC chicken and
the always delicious Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. As our friends call you down south. Jesus. What a movie, man.
Let's get it going here.
All right, man, we're getting close. I think everyone is in their studio right now saying Sperry's going to take Tyler Shuck at 83.
And you're going to bamboozle
It's a done
him?
deal. And I cannot wait to hear the reaction at all the different studios here because we can hear a lot of the other stuff that people are saying, and I just can't wait for people to go, what?
Who has pick number 82? Do you know?
What's that?
Let's go look. Who has pick number 82?
Who does have pick number 82? Is it Broncos again?
Here are the picks before the Steelers. You have Colts, Bengals, and Seahawks. Could Tyler Shuck be taken by any of these teams?
Well, I'm not taking Shuck.
No, I'm saying could they be taken
Oh, no.
before you?
Not really. Maybe Colts, but nah. Especially because I'm pretty sure we're using a PFF simulator, and they have him ranked as like a 6th-round pick. Like, Trevor Sikkema, who puts this big board together, is not very high on Tyler Shuck. So, I actually don't expect him to be taken in this entire mock. I don't. So Princely Umam-Mielen, we talked about earlier, when they made the Mason Graham pick that they need edge rusher help. I think Umam-Mielen can help them out. So listen, man, I actually got surprisingly a good amount of clarity on the Rodgers situation today.
You did? I didn't.
Because, the answer that we wanted was why. Had he not made a decision yet? And everyone was speculating. Was he waiting for another team? Was he waiting for the draft, which was my theory. Turns out none of that's true. And it turns out the reason is because he's dealing with some personal stuff. Sounds like family issues that he's trying to work out with his sister and other people. And he feels like he has to give 100% of his attention to that, make sure that's squared away. And then when that's good to go and it's ready to rock, he's going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers because he had a glowing review of the Steelers coaching staff and Pittsburgh as a whole. Talked about the offense and how he believes in Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator. That was a big question mark. Talked about how he talked about his throwing session with DK Metcalf and talking about how he called him a specimen, Coop.
Yes, he did.
Called him a specimen. It's like, you think he's not excited to play with DK Metcalf? Of course he's excited to play with him. It's just apparently he's got some personal shit he's got to figure out, and then once that's figured out, I think he's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback. So here we go. Marcus Embo out of Purdue. He's going to be a guard in the league, and then Noel Williams, a cornerback from California, very physical corner that I like. I think that might be a little bit rich. But, given the corners that were available, so Marcus Embo, I'm pretty sure there's a tackle that still hasn't been taken that I really like. Or a guard, I should say. Wyatt Milam, I think would have been the better pick for San Francisco there. But Noel Williams. By the way, you got Jacob Pear still on the board. You still got Darian Porter on the board, Dorian Strong. I have them all graded higher than Noel Williams. So, you guys know that I have a lot of respect for Tom, man. We'll be doing a lot of back and forth next week when we go live for the draft. Noel Williams, I think, in round 3 might be a little bit of a reach. Jordan Birch, edge rusher out of Oregon, really athletic player. This is the first pick from Barefoot that, it might work out in the future, and this is a rebuilding team, so it's not a terrible pick.
He's a project.
But he's a little bit of a project, in my opinion. So don't hate that pick. We got a $5 super chat from my man, Robert Locke.
Bobby Locke.
My man. By the way, I think I actually had a whole Steelers video scripted that we were going to film this afternoon.
Scrap.
I think we're scrapping it to talk Rodgers takeaways. We have to, right?
Absolutely.
And then we'll probably just film this one tomorrow morning, the one that I already scripted. Robert Locke says, Aaron Rodgers just trying to make sure we don't draft a play-ready quarterback. I honestly don't think that's what it is. I honestly think All right, and maybe I'm just falling for Rodgers' devil magic here. All right, or whatever you want to call it. I genuinely believe him that he's dealing with some personal shit right now that requires his attention. And once that's done, he will sign with the Steelers. I truly believe that. Maybe I'm falling for his tricks, and maybe he's lying straight to our faces. Possibility, but he said the draft has no bearing on his decision, and I believe him. So, who was the one that reported that he pitched to the Minnesota Vikings to
I
join
can't
them?
remember who that was.
Was it Breer?
I couldn't tell you.
I think it was
I'd be lying.
Breer. And I remember Graham was telling me, oh, Sperry's definitely not going to Pittsburgh now. I'm like, what makes you say that? $5. Gary says, hey, Jack, how many jerseys you're raffling off? 5, 6? I'll take mine with Mason. This could go on for months. Who knows? And you're right. It could take a little while longer. Like yesterday, I thought the point of no return was after the draft. Right now, sounds like Tomlin is willing to wait as long as it takes.
Did you see what Harry said?
He
said $5 to anyone who screws Sperry before 83. Little do they know.
Little do they know I'm not taking him. All right, so who'd they take? Jordan Birch?
Jackson Dart off the board.
Jackson Dart finally coming off the board here. So Jordan Birch. Where'd he go?
Birch went to the Pats.
Well, yeah, but this last pick.
Dart.
Cardinals?
Yep.
That's a weird pick, man.
They need a backup.
Yeah, but no, they don't. They got Jacoby.
Well, yeah.
That's just the classic simulated pick where Dart's like the highest player, and they just take the best player on the board. So Dart's off the board. So unfortunate. So for the people that wanted me to take Dart at 83, it's not a possibility. Dude, there are still some good players on the board right now. Demetrius Knight, Oluwafemi Oladejo, RJ Harvey, Josiah Stewart, CJ West. A lot of good players still on the board. Dude, I cannot wait. I literally cannot wait to send shockwaves through the Chat Sports offices here.
I think you should pick him.
Milrow?
Nope.
I'm not taking Chuck.
Is it just because everyone... Are you just trying to zag? Or you would actually do this?
I would do this.
Okay.
Because if I'm taking Chuck, I'm playing him. I'm drafting him to start. And if I'm expecting Rodgers to be with the Steelers, which I do, I'd rather get somebody that can legitimately have superstar level trajectory. I don't think Chuck is going to be a superstar in the league.
Fair enough.
I have a round 2 grade on him. I think that he could be a legitimate starter in the league. It's a very real possibility for him. I am a Tyler Shuck guy. He is my number 2 quarterback in this class. But there's a legitimate possibility that if the Steelers take him, he's not starting a game until he's 28. Because Aaron Rodgers might play 1, and he might even play 2 years.
What if he plays 0?
Well, you draft Kirk or you trade for Kirk Cousins.
He sucks.
I understand, but the Steelers are trying to win now, and you can't start a rookie if you're trying to win now.
I might rather start a rookie than Kirk Cousins.
Well, that's fine, but the Steelers wouldn't.
I'm just telling you.
I'm just telling you. Steelers would not do that. The Steelers would rather start the season with Kirk Cousins as their starter than probably draft a quarterback to start. Jack Sawyer saw this one coming a mile away from Stone, our Bengals host. Cincinnati guy, went to Ohio State, national champion. Bengals fans will be happy about that, getting another trench player. So JTC, well, actually, we got a couple of super chats that we need to get to here momentarily. We are getting close. I would. Here's the thing, though. I really hope he doesn't take Shuck here. He might, just to fuck with me.
Because then you can say you weren't taking it, but no one will believe you.
Yeah, but no one will believe me.
Yeah.
I mean, we can show them the tape of me saying on the show that I'm taking Milrow. But
Bob Locke.
Bob Locke, $2. My man says GTA 6 before Rodgers' decision. Listen, man, I legitimately have no idea when the decision is going to come down, but today gave me some clarity that I think it's going to be the Steelers. I'm not completely ruling out retirement. I don't think Rodgers is ruling out retirement, but it sounds like all the consideration and the conversations have been had, and there's only one option, and it's the Steelers. It seems like he feels like it's a good option. It's just a matter of, before he makes that commitment and he understands how big a commitment it is, he wants to make sure the personal shit that he's dealing with right now is squared away before he signs on. $5 from Gary Frank says, "Hey, Jack." This is.
Yeah.
But to answer Gary's question, we're giving away who knows how many more jerseys, depending on how many more scoops we get on Rodgers. So we'll see. JTC says, Harmon over Grant and Nolan? No way that's happening. Well, I'll tell you guys this right now. Derek Harmon was the only one to get a top 30 visit.
True.
No Kenneth Grant, no Walter Nolan draft visits. That's important for the Steelers, guys. When was the last time they took a player in the first round without a top 30 visit? It's been a long time, man. Been a long time. And, I think Harmon's their guy if they take a DT in round 1. Now, I actually think you should be keeping your eye on Omarion Hampton and Travion Henderson in round 1 because I think that they like those running backs. And
wow.
I think that could be the pick because if the Steelers are continuing to try to, send a pitch to Rodgers to sign on, getting another offensive weapon can only help.
All right, we are on the clock. Number 82, Tez Johnson.
Tez Johnson off the board.
You need to wait until the last possible second and then send it in. All right, who should we pick? Let us know.
Let us know.
You gotta wait.
Is he talking about Tez Johnson? Yeah. Tez Johnson is tiny, man. He's so small. So I know who I'm picking here. This running back class is deep enough where I feel good about getting the running back that I want or a running back that fits with what the Steelers want in round 4. Obviously, this is just a 3-round mock, so we're not going to be taking a running back here. But
Harrison says I have Steelers up as we speak. Hello, Harrison.
Hello, Harry. We're just gonna, we're gonna make people. We're gonna juice it a little bit here.
All right, send it in.
All right, we sending it?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, boom.
With the 83rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jalen Milroe, QB, Alabama.
Yeah, man. Milroe.
Oh, my goodness.
The reaction from everybody here at Chat Sports is going crazy.
So good.
Listen, man, I have Shuck rated higher on my board as an overall prospect, but plain and simply, I think Aaron Rodgers is signing on to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, and if he's going to play here 1 or even 2 years, you're looking at Tyler Shuck being 27
You're getting flamed.
or 28 in the big board right now. And good. Listen, man, all these people right now.
They're saying because you have Milroe ranked lower that you have no backbone.
Well, I just think it makes more sense. If you think Aaron Rodgers is going to be here, and I think he is, you've got a guy here in Milroe that's 22 years old that has incredible upside, dynamic rushing ability, an incredible ability to throw the ball down the field. And he gets an opportunity, man, to learn from one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League to develop the other nuances of his game. And, it's going to take some work, and it is a little bit of a risk here. But, the Pittsburgh Steelers are never drafting high enough to take a legit blue-chip quarterback prospect. This guy can legitimately become a superstar quarterback in this league with the proper development. And with Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph on the roster, this guy can sit. He can learn from one of the all-time NFL greats. And when Rodgers eventually says goodbye, Cam Hayward retires, and the Jalen Milroe era in Pittsburgh can begin, hopefully he can be the answer for the next 10, 15 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the position. So even though I have Tyler Shuck rated above Jalen Milroe on my big board, it makes more sense with Aaron Rodgers coming to Pittsburgh, most likely, for them to take Milroe. So I just set off a bomb here at Chat Sports Studios, and I can't wait to discuss it with everybody here at Chat Sports after this stream is over. Are people booing me because I drafted Milroe?
They're saying you didn't stand on business.
I think I did. Ah. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious, man. I knew exactly what the reaction was going to be too. I cannot. What do you guys think, man? Would you have rather taken Shuck here, or do you think I made the right call with Milroe? Because like from my thinking, Milroe's got the higher upside. And it's like if I'm drafting him to play right now, it's not even a discussion. Tyler Shuck's better, man. But Jalen Milroe, man, this guy's got incredible physical tools. He could be a legitimate superstar in this league if he hits. And if you have Aaron Rodgers coming into your building, which I fully expect at this point, I think that you give him the proper time to develop in this offense. So I'm excited for the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got Derek Carman, Jalen Milroe. You're going to be able to take a really good running back on day 3 in round 4. Like just look at some of the running backs that are still available: Dylan Sampson, R.J. Harvey, Damian Martinez, DJ Giddens, Jaden Blue, Jarquez Hunter. I mean, Bashal Tootin. Got a lot of really good running backs still available, man. So
here, I think we can take a look at top running backs available here. Here's our list.
What's that?
Here's our list of top running backs still on the board.
Yeah, so here's ESPN's top running backs. DJ Giddens, who the Steelers have shown a lot of interest in. I really like that. Then you got Devin Neal, who's a really good football player.
R.J. Harvey,
I love out of UCF. Really great patience, and I think he's got a chance to be a star, man. I really do. I think that he's an awesome player. Got great numbers there at UCF. Trevor Etienne, kind of a third down back out of Georgia. That's really, really twitchy and explosive. Dylan Sampson is the number 5 running back available. Damian Martinez is still on there. Bashal Tootin, who the Steelers like. I mean, you're getting a guy in Jalen Milroe here to develop for the future, which is exactly what the Steelers, fandom wants. I think if you get Tyler Shuck, it's a guy for right now, but they're expecting to get Rodgers, so it doesn't make sense to get him. All right, I think if I were the Cleveland Browns, in round 2 or in round 3, I would have taken Tyler Shuck. If I were the New York Football Giants, I would have thought about maybe Tyler Shuck. If I was the New Orleans Saints at some point during this draft, I would have thought about Tyler Shuck if I didn't take Shad Orleans at number 9. But for the Steelers in this particular pick, even though I have Shuck definitely ranked higher than Jalen Milroe on my big board, for this situation, it makes more sense to go with Milroe. It's just plain and simply the way it is. And sometimes that's the way it works, Coop.
Sometimes that's the way it goes.
Sometimes your lower rated player makes the most sense, whether it's because of scheme, whether it's because of upside matched with time to develop, like we're doing with Milroe here. Some of the other picks after we took Jalen Milroe at number 83 overall. Kyle Kennard, an edge out of South Carolina. That's a reach for Tampa Bay, in my opinion. Ty Hamilton, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. That's early for Ty Hamilton, man. Wow. Josiah Stewart, edge rusher out of Michigan. Oluwafemi Oladejo, edge rusher out of UCLA.
Is that early for him?
Oluwafemi?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, there's a lot of mock drafts that have the Commanders taking him in round 2.
Oh, wow.
So good player, man. New to the position, still learning the position, but got a really good cross chop, really athletic.
He's new to football, right?
And Joey made that pick right there, so he's heard me talk about Femi on the Commanders report quite a bit because the Commanders have really shown a lot of interest in him. So must have rubbed off on him a little bit. Pause. Darian Porter, a really crazy athletic, super toolsy corner out of Iowa State, going to Jacksonville. He reminds me a lot of Zion McCollum of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where came out of what was that? Houston Christian or something like that, and he was just raw, man. Like he just wasn't very good in coverage. Still had a lot to work on, and he did a really good job developing with Tampa Bay. I think Darian Porter is kind of that next project, but potential number 1 corner in this class. Coming up here to finish out, 89 with the Texans coming up. Then you got the Rams, the Ravens, and the Seahawks. God, dude, I cannot wait for the shitstorm I am about to walk into.
I was going to say, are you ready to stand on business?
I'm ready to stand on business.
All right. As long as you're ready.
Like Jalen Milroe is my QB4 in this class. Tyler Shuck, but He's got the highest, literally the highest potential grade out of any quarterback in this class. Like, his upside is even higher, theoretically speaking, from a physical standpoint than Cam Moore. A stronger arm, faster, all these different things. If he develops in the league, he's gonna be special, man. He is. So, I mean, Chris Collinsworth had the Steelers taking Jalen Milroe in round 1. If I'm getting him here in round 3, I think that's the right value for Milroe, and I'm happy about it. Gary says, Jack, I would hold Rodgers to his comment. I'd take $10 million. He didn't say a year. Give him 5 a year.
I think he meant $10 million a year.
Yeah, exactly. So, listen, man, he's going to – I think that's what the contract's going to be. I really do. I think he's going to sign a contract, 1 year, $10 million. I think that's what it's going to be. And that's going to actually leave the Steelers with a little bit of wiggle room there. Like, they can make another trade. If they sign him to a $10 million deal for one season, they'll still have over $18 million in cap space. So they could still make another move if they wanted to with that kind of money. So for all the people that said, oh, Rodgers is holding up free agency because it's going to be a big contract. Well, that turned out to be a whole lot of bullshit because – if he signed on the first day of free agency.
Way.
But, yes! I love it! Woo! And it doesn't make, because this is another situation where a 26-year-old Shuck will have to sit 2 years behind Matthew Stafford. But as his backup quarterback, I think it's a really good backup option. I fucking love it, Jackson. I love it. Woo! Terrence Ferguson, tight end out of Oregon, goes to Houston. Okay player, whatever. Tyler Shuck, my guy. This is a steal for the Los Angeles Rams, by the way. Just saying. It is.
You should have picked him. You are about to.
Why?
You are about to go.
Why does it make sense for Pittsburgh
You are about to
sign
go
him?
into Dante's Inferno out there.
Good. I still made the right choice. I haven't changed my rankings. Tyler Shuck is still the better QB prospect on my big board right now. Because Jalen Milroe right now is not a very good quarterback. Tyler Shuck's a pretty good quarterback right now. And he's got some decent starter upside.
Jeremy said Sperry talks about it. Durham's a man of action. Oh, man.
Ultimate smokescreen. Oh, ultimate smokescreen, baby. I was telling everybody at the office I was going to take Shuck at 21. I was going around saying, I'm taking Shuck at 21. Oh, my goodness. Listen, man, number 90th overall pick. Los Angeles Rams getting a damn good player at the 90th pick for sure, man. Absolutely. Number 91.
The production's going off.
So production is going off right now. And I knew it would, man.
That's good stuff. Ooh, I like this pick by the Ravens.
Kobe Bryant. So that is it's a good player right there, man. A frisky player. I think he's going to have to be a nickel in the league. He's going to have to play slot. But he's physical as fuck. He likes to get in people's faces. At Shrine Bowl practices this year in Frisco, you could literally hear him talking shit to people in that indoor practice facility that they have. Like, he's awesome, man. I love his personality, but he's super tiny, super skinny. So I think he's gonna have to play in the slot, but damn good player for sure. How many more picks we got here? We got quite a few. We're
10 to 12 more?
We still got, it gets to 102, 103?
Yeah, 102, I believe.
God, dude, this is going to be an all-time.
Dude,
just
you are going to have to be deflecting left and right. I
mean, it's just a simple answer. You got Aaron Rodgers for the short term.
What if you don't?
Then you trade it for Kirk Cousins. This is what I've been telling you. This is what I've been telling you, man. The Steelers are going to have a veteran quarterback as their starting quarterback next year. They're trying to win now. I think if they take a quarterback to play now, it would be Tyler Shuck. It would be Shuck. And that would make the most sense. But I'm not taking a quarterback to play now. I'm taking a quarterback to play 2-3 years from now.
Would you rather Tyler Shuck or Kirk Cousins?
I think the Steelers would rather have Kirk, but I think by the end of the season, Shuck would play.
Interesting.
But still, if you have Kirk, you play him for a year. If it doesn't work out. Oh, my goodness, man. Quincy Riley, cornerback out of Louisville, going to Tyler Jones and the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, my goodness, man. It's funny, though, because I told you, I whispered, I said, I think I'm going to take Milroe. 15 minutes before we made the pick, and I knew there was like that 15-minute buildup where we just knew it was going to happen. Savion Williams, another offensive player for the New Orleans Saints.
Trace has blatant disregard for the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Number 93, wide receiver, TCU.
Could play a little back, right?
Yeah, man. He can play a little quarterback. He can be like the put Taysom Hill and Savion Williams on the field at the same time. You have no idea who's snapping the fucking ball. He was a quarterback in high school. Ran a lot of Wildcat quarterback at TCU.
Oh, I didn't know he was a QB in high school.
Yeah, and he's not a really good route runner, but he's incredible with the ball in his hands. And I think Triz has taken him because he's just a fun, dynamic weapon chess piece to use on defense. It's so funny though that Durham is the one to take Tyler Shuck.
You have stirred the pot.
Good. This pot needs to be stirred. Discussion needs to be had. Embrace debate. Embrace debate.
That's awesome. Kyle McCord going to the Browns.
Kyle McCord, number 94. Keep your eye on McCord to go sometime in round 3, by the way. Honestly, this is somebody where, like, if Milroe gets taken, and if Shuck is taken by the 3rd round pick, I could definitely see the Steelers take McCord in round 3. I would personally rather get him in round 4, but I've heard the Steelers really like him. As a round 3 type of prospect. So he ends up going to the Browns in our mock here. Which honestly isn't a bad pick for them. McCord is kind of one of the more, I would say, more pro-ready quarterbacks in this class, even though he's got an interception issue.
I was going to say, turns it over too much.
But he thinks his pre-snap processor is pretty darn good. He just needs to do a better job confirming with his eyes post-snap. $2. Bob Locke says more Coop pressures Jack the higher. Pressures Jack the higher his voice gets. Yeah, man.
Jack's going to have a lot of heat in the bullpen after this.
I am, because listen, man, I've been Tyler Shuck's kind of advocate in this office. Pretty consistently. I stick up for the guy when people shit on him in the office. Let's put it that way. And of course, I was smoke screening everybody this or leading up to today, saying I was definitely taking him. But Milroe falls, and I think that he's the better, more upside type of pick. I don't want Tyler Shuck playing his first game for the Steelers when he's 28 years old. And Rodgers wasn't on the table. Would have been easy Tyler Shuck. Easy Tyler Shuck if Rodgers was not on the table. But because I think there's a really good chance Rodgers signs with the Steelers, Milroe's the pick. Devin Neal.
Read JTC's.
Oh, $5 says, why would Cards take Jackson? They have Kyler Murray. It
was simulation.
It was a simulated pick, JTC. These simulators can make weird picks like that. I don't think he would have been taken. But even if Jackson was there, I'm taking Milroe over him, because for what that specific pick is for is to get a developmental quarterback with high upside. Jalen Milroe's definitely developmental, and he has the highest upside out of all the quarterbacks that were available. Does he need a lot of work? Yep. Do I trust him to start a game in his rookie season? Hell no. But you got Aaron Rodgers and you got Mason Rudolph. You don't need Milroe to play right away. So that's what I got. Devin Neal, running back out of Kansas. Of course, Tyler Jones takes his Jayhawk running back there. Had to. And now we got Jake Chipper on. Good pick by Jake Chipper right here, guys. We got the pick is in. Number 96 for the Eagles. We are almost finished up here on Steelers Talk.
We'll have a video later this afternoon.
We will have a video up later on both of these channels. If you're still watching us on the Commanders Report, thank you so much for watching. And if you're watching us on Steelers, you've been watching since the McAfee-Rodgers interview. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us here throughout this mock draft. It's been a lot of fun, all right? I enjoyed stirring the pot for sure today.
You did. You did a good job of it.
I'm pretty happy with my pick. I am.
That's good shit.
But
man.
And I am looking forward to this conversation we are about to have. Jacob Parrish, really good player out of Kansas State. Really like how physical he is. Good tackler. Just really, really steady. And he can play in the nickel right away. Now, he's probably going to play actually more outside for Philly if he plays. Vernon Broughton, good pass rusher out of Texas here.
More of a run defender, is he not?
Got it. Nah, not really. We got a Venmo here, Coop.
Oh, let me. I need to pull that in real quick.
All right. So Vikings get some help on the interior of the D-line to help out Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, two kind of aging guys. Brian Ruiz coming in with a $2 Venmo. Appreciate you, Brian.
Appreciate you, Brian.
This question for both Jack and Coop. Are you guys more defensively or offensively minded, would you say? I'm definitely offensive minded.
I love offense.
Because, listen, I appreciate good defense. All right, as a Steelers fan, Steel Curtain, all the different stuff, just traditionally great defenses in Pittsburgh. That is something that, I love, but it's an offensive league. And, I think, this is one of my biggest gripes with Mike Tomlin is he doesn't prioritize offense enough. All right, like they spend a lot of money on the defensive side of the ball. They're the leading. By the way, Shamar Turner goes to the Miami Dolphins at number 98. What was I saying?
Offensive-minded.
Yeah, that's one of my gripes with Mike Tomlin is that he's not offensive-minded in an offensive league. And, you don't spend any money on offense. You spend all your money on defense. Now, that has started to shift a little bit. They went out and got DK Metcalf. They're pursuing Aaron Rodgers. It seems like there is kind of a nod, wink type of deal with Aaron Rodgers that he's eventually going to sign with the Steelers here. Is this going to be R.J. Harvey here?
Oh, it could be.
Pair him up with Tyrone?
MG loves R.J. Harvey.
R.J. Harvey's my dog, man.
I really have to waz.
What's up?
I really have to waz.
Yeah?
Yep.
we are approaching the end here. And then Steelers fans, I'll have a video up on the Aaron Rodgers, my takeaways on the Rodgers thing that happened on. There's R.J. Harvey. Great pick by the New York Football Giants there. Good, I think good over.
Oh, it's Miles Frazier.
Ooh, they go Miles Frazier instead of running back here. Guard out of LSU at number 99, helping out their O-line. So no R.J. Harvey. Did they put R.J. Harvey in there just because they assumed it was going to be him?
Couple more picks, couple more super chats.
And by the way, Coop, I think if Tyler Shuck was 22 or 23, I think I would have taken him over Milrow.
Would you have taken
But
him
like the
over?
fact that he's 26 and you're drafting him to sit for at least a year, maybe even 2 years.
If he's 22,
That is the determining factor for why I didn't go Shuck.
If he's 22, would you take him over Ward?
No. Ward's better. Ward is better, has better anticipation, better pocket presence. He handles pressure better. I really like his playmaking instincts too. I like Shucks too. Like, I'm still a Shuck guy. It's just if you're drafting a quarterback to sit for at least a year, maybe 2 years, I don't think you draft the guy that's 26. JTC says, I really enjoyed watching the show. $10 here. Appreciate you, JTC. It would be no fun if we couldn't raise you or razz you. I wish there were more picks so we could give you more shit. Great job, Coop and Spare.
Thank you, JTC.
Appreciate you, JTC. You're a real one, man. $2 from Gary Frank says, how is our schedule for next year? Easy, hard. It's a second place schedule. So there's that.
We don't have the order yet.
We don't have the order. I'm pretty sure we can look up the opponents. See, I already know what the response is going to be when I walk out there. It's just going to be boos. They're just going to be booing.
Oh yeah. You know it's coming.
I'm just you know what? I'm just going to I'm
You're preparing yourself?
I am standing on business. I'm getting ready to soak it in.
You're getting ready to
all
what?
of the outrage. Charles Grant, good pick here for the 49ers. Offensive tackle / guard prospect out of William Mary. Really good physical profile. Think that he could be a pretty darn good player eventually. Might need a little bit of development, but 49ers need to start building up that O-line for the future for sure. So our home opponents next year, Coop. We have Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Buffalo, Green Bay, Indianapolis, Miami, Minnesota, and Seattle. It's looking like Green Bay is going to be the Ireland game. So, I mean, and then the away teams are Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Bears, Lions, Chargers, Patriots, and Jets.
And that will conclude our mock draft.
Is it 102 picks?
That's it.
All right, so Dorian Strong, cornerback out of Virginia Tech, goes to L.A. I actually kind of like that fit for him. He's a good, solid player. And then Jared Ivey, edge rusher out of Ole Miss, big player, but I don't know, man. He's got some athletic limitations, let's put it, going to the Detroit Lions. So, all right, to recap what we did here, pick number 21 for the Steelers, we took Derek Harmon, really good, very solid defensive tackle that's going to be a 3-down starter for them eventually and be a rotational piece for them right away. Makes them one of the most deep defensive tackle groups in the entire league, in my opinion. And you combine that with the edge rushers that they already have, there's no excuse for this front not to be one of the best in football. Then I take the 22-year-old with high upside, Jalen Milrow, to back up Aaron Rodgers for at least the next year, but potentially the next 2 years. All right, like with Milrow in there, my message to Rodgers is, hey, you want to be here for 2 years? We're perfectly fine with that. Milrow needs time to develop, And the more time he has to learn from you, the better. And, with me trying to draft a quarterback for development, it doesn't make sense to draft a 26-year-old Tyler Shuck, even though right now he is the better player and the better overall prospect, in my opinion, than Jalen Milroe. So that is my reasonings for the 2 picks there. And by the way, a lot of good running backs still on the board heading into round 4 for the Steelers. R.J. Harvey, Giddens, Sampson, a lot of guys the Steelers would love to get. Bashal Tootin. Then for the Commanders, in number 29, I took Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State. Love Higgins' game. I think he's going to be a potential future number 1 in this league, which solidifies the wide receiver 1 position for Washington for a very long time and gives them a dynamic wide receiver duo. Then Kevin Winston Jr. in round 2, coming off an injury from last year, but his film is unbelievable, guys. I think he's going to be a great player on day 1, and I can't wait to see what he would do in this Commanders defense moving forward. Then, there's still some really good edge rushers still on the board for them to consider heading into round 4 as well. And hopefully they can maybe even trade for Trey Hendrickson and really put a bow on the offseason. All right, man, that's going to be it for today's live stream. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for making it to the end of today's live program. Again, we're going to have videos for both the Commanders and the Steelers that come out later this afternoon. So click that subscribe button and turn on those notifications for whenever those videos come out.